guess that you never need it. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, welcome to the PWCC Premier Auction ending bidding watch party. It is Saturday, April the 16th, 2022. My name is Jeremy Lee, and I am coming to you live from my hotel room at the Edmonton Expo, the Clarion Hotel. It's been a great show so far, and I'm a little bit out of my normal environment, so hopefully this goes well and the hotel Wi-Fi will stand up for us tonight. I want to shout out channel supporter Whatnot 1 Minute Auctions. Buy it now is hosted around the clock by some of the best breakers in the hobby. It's a safe environment with a community full of avid collectors and buyers. Again, I also want to mention and announce new channel supporter, the Center Stage app. Download the app in the App Store for quick comps while you are strolling through card shows and looking to price your cards if you are a vendor. The app is continuously improving, so be sure to scan your cards and help them improve that app as time goes by. Want to shout out Basketball Card Magazine and our co-host tonight, Editor-in-Chief Adam Gray. Go to bcfmag.com. Thanks to all you podcast listeners, all the subscribers and viewers. If you are not yet subscribed, please take a second and do so. And sort of something special tonight coming here to you from this hotel room. I do want to shout out, this community, this chat, this show, the channel, the podcast, all the guests from past shows. Today happens to be the 2-year anniversary of Sports Cards Live. And again, a little weird that I'm not in the normal setting, but hey, here we are today. I had to travel for a card show and it has been great. I went live first time. It was April 16th, 2020. And let me tell you, back then, I had excitement. I had passion. I did have 40 years worth of hobby experience, and I also had the butterflies all at the same time. I was nervous, did not know how to do a show, and but these discussions, these interviews, it's really, the show has changed my life over the last 2 years, and it's just been an amazing journey with really no end in sight. So I do want to thank everyone who has watched, commented, engaged, come on the show as a guest, given me feedback. I want to thank the content creator community for their support and for all the collaborations. I want to thank channel supporters, Whatnot, PWCC, Center Stage app, Collectible, the Sport Card Expo. And I want to especially thank Karn Rai, who was the first person to ever sponsor the show, and thank him for his confidence way back when. And I want to thank the mentors that I've relied upon. You guys know who you are. I've been fortunate to make so many friends because of Sports Cards Live. It's truly been a blessing. So thank you to everybody. And with that, on with the show. Let's bring out our co-host, Adam Gray, Editor-in-Chief, Basketball Card Fanatic. What is up, my man? How are you?
Hey, Jeremy. I am great. I think I can speak for everybody just in saying congratulations, in saying thank you. I think there's some people out there who know what it means to put literally like hundreds of hours into not a side hustle, but into a project that you have real passion for, that doesn't always seem to be something that you're going to get a huge economic benefit from, but that benefits a community. And that's what you've done over the last couple years. And I'm grateful that I've been able to be a part of it, and just want to congratulate you for it. Good job.
Well, thanks, Adam. I appreciate that. It's nice to celebrate it with you tonight, and with everyone else who's out there. So yeah, I can't believe 2 years went by super fast, and we're coming up on a year's worth of covering PWCC auction endings, and this is the biggest one yet. This premier auction, there's 324 lots, tons of great cards. I mean, have you gone through them? How many cards are you interested in following, and kind of make you wish you maybe had more money in the bank to go spend?
Well, the number is large enough this time that I didn't actually go through every auction. What I do is I use their filters to sort the things that I'd be most interested in. And so obviously I clicked on basketball wax, clicked on basketball. I actually looked at some of their non-sports cards too. And that's where I start, just sort of like scrolling through. The thing that really was clear to me about this auction is that, as usual, there's a whole bunch of really wonderful, great high-end cards. But this auction, I think, has a really good mix of some of the most iconic cards that we know really well, especially in basketball, along with, just some of the really rare, cool, high-end inserts and autographs and things like that. So, and when I say high-end iconic, I'm talking about, like, the first one that comes to my mind is the 1980 Topps, famous 1980 Topps basketball card with the big three: Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Julius Erving, in a PSA 10. That's something you don't see up for auction every day. And then, combine that with the BGS 9 Michael Jordan Star XRC. Those are two. Actually, I'm going to show you this real quick, little quick shout out or a quick plug for my magazine. Those are two of the top 20 most iconic basketball cards of all time, in about as high a grade as you'll find. You'll see the MJ right there, and then right next to it here we've got the 1980 Topps card. Each of those cards are, that's got to be pretty close to a dream card for somebody who collects kind of like you do, right? The 1980 Topps PSA 10. Oh
yeah, that's a dream card for anybody, isn't it? That's one of those. That's up there with it's up there with the Jordan PSA 10, which is probably more common. It's
for sure.
It's up there for anybody, for everybody.
There's not a lot of cards that I'd put above that one as far as, like, combination of both rarity by grade and being super well known. I rank that card as the second most iconic basketball card of all time. So to see it in a PSA 10, I think is pretty cool.
The recent issue of Basketball Card Fanatic, is that the one that talks about the most iconic cards in the history of basketball that you polled various people for, and where did that card fall? Or are you willing to divulge that information?
Yeah, I'm happy to. The 1980 Topps card, if I remember right, it was number 6. Let's see. I'm sorry, no, it was number 4. The number 4 most iconic card of all time, with 170 points, just behind the Michael Jordan PMG red/green. So this last time we did this, which was 18 months ago, the 1980 Topps card was actually number 3. This time it got bumped back a little bit because the 1990s inserts are being viewed more and more as really iconic type cards. So several cards jumped into the top 20 that weren't, or that jumped higher or weren't in the top 20 altogether 18 months ago when we did this the first time. But again, for my where I've been in the hobby for such a long time, I still think that 1980 Topps card is literally, next to the Jordan rookie, the most iconic basketball card ever made.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's remind everybody there's only about 7 minutes left in bidding before the extended bidding phase kicks in. So if you have not yet bid on something you're planning to, if you are fortunate enough to be bidding on one of these amazing cards in this auction, you have, as I said, about 7 minutes left before you can, and until you're shut out of bidding and extended. So while we're letting people do that, Adam, let's go to the comments. Let's say hello to All Valley Collectibles. We got Renee and Ronnie here. Jordan Riker says, you look familiar. Yeah, it goes on to say, you saw someone who looks a lot like me. Yeah, Jordan flew in from Arizona last night, came to the show today here in Edmonton for, I don't know, at about 2 o'clock or so. He came and told me he was leaving. He'd seen it all and he was done. I thought, well, okay, well, good for you to make the trip. And we'll see you tonight, and we'll see you at Toronto at the expo there too. Thank you, Renee and Ronnie. Appreciate that. Bill, thank you for the congratulations on the 2-year anniversary of Sports Cards Live. For people who are just joining us a little bit late, today is the 2-year anniversary of this show. So thank you, Wiz Collectibles. Appreciate that. We'll keep it up. Frank, really appreciate that. Tom, good to see you. Lucky K, thank you so much. Tom Bullard says Harry Potter autos. Friedman wants to know, is $140,000 PMG sale from the Edmonton truth or rumor? I can verify it is truth. It happened right across the booth, directly across from me is where that took place. So yeah, that is definitely truth.
What card, Jeremy?
This was the 2020-21 Skybox Metal Universe Precious Metal Gems Gold 1/1 Alex Ovechkin.
Oh wow, 140.
Yeah.
That's got to be a record for a more modern PMG hockey card, I'd have to imagine.
For sure it is. Yeah, I mean, that we know of. Definitely. And speaking of hockey cards, this month's Premier Auction has more hockey cards than I've ever seen in a Premier before, at a grand total of 7. And actually, maybe now is a good time, Adam. I do have something sort of different for tonight's show. So let me just back up for a bit here, and let's take a look at some. I've actually done some analysis here for everybody. So let's pop up a graph that I created in Excel. Adam was impressed with my Excel skills. But here we have lots by category in the April 2022 Premier Auction, 324 total lots. And if you look at this, guys, you can see that basketball dominates. No surprise there. Basketball dominates at over half of the lots in the auction, followed by football at 63, baseball at 47, soccer, hockey at 7, which is a record for the Premier. TCG, that is combined Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. We got some wax, some golf, some tickets, non-sport, and miscellaneous. And I even, Adam, I got fancy. I got fancy with Excel, and I did a pie chart here just to really get a graphical look into just how much basketball does dominate, as you can see. And then I went one step further, Adam, and I went by player. So you can see here that Michael Jordan and Tom Brady both have 27 auctions in the Premier. Okay, followed by LeBron, Kobe, all the way down. What I thought was really neat, though, I don't know if neat is the word, but Michael Jordan has 27 auctions, 27 listings in this auction. That is more than soccer, hockey, and golf combined. 3 decent categories. Michael Jordan has more than those 3 combined. I thought that was pretty interesting. Adam, any comments on, any insights, any comments gleaned from these 2 charts that I put up?
Yeah, the thing that I would highlight real quick is just that the Premier Auction is for the cards that are the best of the best, right? And so there's a lot of cards that are great cards and worth a lot, but they don't make sense to sell, with a minimum fee of $2,000. That's the minimum fee on each of these cards in this auction. And so as we see some of these other areas, cards kind of increasing to that price, I think we're going to see more. But for right now, to see that 169 compared to, like you said, 27 Jordans compared to 7 hockey cards, I think with time we'll see some more hockey cards in there, and maybe we'll see something even out, non-sports and things like that. But for now, where the big money is mostly in basketball, it's not shocking to me.
It's not shocking at all. And I see Josh Packham lets me know that Jackie had 2 columns. Yeah, good question. I'm not sure. I must have made I think, you know what? I'm not sure what. I obviously made a mistake in the graph somewhere, but please just ignore that. Of course, someone has to notice that I made a mistake in the graph.
We've got another auditor in our midst, Jeremy.
Right? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, I'm gonna run. I want to say hi to Mike at Easter. It says, hope you guys are killing it at the show. Yeah, the show here in Edmonton this weekend. It started yesterday, was crazy busy. I probably had my best day ever at a card show yesterday. Today was also I'd say yesterday was amazing. Today was very good. I think tomorrow's gonna be pretty slow with Easter Sunday, but should be good I didn't get to leave my booth. Could not leave my booth. I have a big booth this time and really no help. So I've been anchored to my booth, but actually I did the math yesterday. I averaged 1 deal every 6 minutes throughout the open hours of the show. So that was pretty crazy. Yeah, 57 deals yesterday. I did 45 deals today. So I don't know if I've ever broken 100 deals at a card show before. So it was pretty fun. Vintage Card Collector says the PWCC Premier has become my favorite episode because you talk in depth. Almost no content. Actually does that. Well, hey, really glad you enjoy that. Vintage Card Collector. Tom Bullard, I can't afford any of these cards, but eventually I will and will be well educated. That's a great outlook, Tom Bullard. Definitely a great outlook on that. Hello, Jeff McMahon. The show is going good. I haven't talked to many vendors who have not enjoyed it. Timeless Cardboard, good to see you. Todd, thank you for the congratulations on the 2nd anniversary. Glad it's entertaining. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. Let's give a preemptive like, y'all. There you go. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Jordan says, want to talk about how the show has been. As I said, the show has been it's been excellent. I picked up 1 card yesterday, and today at the very end, I bought a couple cards off another dealer. So I picked up all of 3 cards, and I've sold many. Friedman, Yes, I spent all my YouTube thousands on that Ovechkin Precious Metal Gems. Packham the Auditor, thank you so much. Simon, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Jordan says, you may have set the record for most deals per minute for any dealer at any show ever. Possibly, if as long as you're only a one-man show, then maybe I did. That would be pretty cool. Hobby Exchange, great to see you. Studio, good to see you. Jason Pringle was at the show today for the Iserman Titanium patch. All right, buddy, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for joining. So let's, Adam, why don't we take a look at the auction? We'll start at the top and just see what some of the most recent bids coming in are. And again, I am on hotel Wi-Fi tonight, everybody. I am usually hardwired into the ether. So if there's any issues, Adam, let me know. But look at that. The card we were talking about in the PSA 9 just got a bid. The Magic Bird, Julius Erving, 80 tops, $19,000. Tiger Woods, SGC 1010 hits 32,000. I bet you love this Jackie Robinson, Madam. This is right up your alley.
I don't know a lot about that Jackie Robinson. You'll have to teach me.
Well, and I say that because you love your Wilt Chamberlain tops test, and it kind of reminds me of it being black and white and a very obscure type of card.
Oh, okay, cool.
And if anyone watching, if you're bidding on any cards, if you're watching any cards or selling any cards, let us know if you want. I know there's risk associated with sharing what cards you are looking at buying because you don't want to bring more bids to it. If you're selling a card, maybe you want to share, but please feel free to share. And why don't we just take a stroll down the top? I have it sorted here by highest price. Adam, what do you think? Should we take a stroll down through this first page?
I like that idea. Real quick though, up top, there's a card that brings an interesting topic of conversation in my mind. Now it's actually just passed, and that was the Anthony Edwards National Treasures card. The thing that card immediately brings to my mind is how vital timing is, and how timing is so difficult to predict. You know, today the Timberwolves really shocked a lot of people, me included, by winning game 1 of their series against the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies have just been nails the whole year. So, you know, he's really catching a lot of people right now, getting people really excited, and so to have those cards ending tonight is really interesting, because if they go on and they win that series and the Timberwolves make any sort of real noise, that card could be just incredible. But having said that, you know, maybe they go and they lose the next 4, and you just don't know. But it just is a good example of how timing in our hobby is so difficult to predict, and how it can change so much so quickly. And there's a few of his cards in this auction tonight that are really nice. I know that he's got an immaculate 1 of 1 up. It's just a spectacular card. I know how much you like immaculate. So it'll be interesting to see how those 2 cards do. Unfortunately, you know, we're past into the extended bidding now, so people can't place an initial bid, but good luck to those people who've already placed their initial bids on these cards.
Yeah, there it says right at the bottom, extended bidding is live. We are in it. Oh, look, there's a Prism Gold Steph Curry. We know you love those cards, Adam. I love this card here, this Jordan Ticket Auto.
It's my favorite.
Grown on me. That card.
The Jordan Ticket Auto is maybe my favorite card in the auction. I've always loved that card.
I love the Magic, the first solo card. You know, I've watched all 6 episodes now of what's it called, Winning Time. I think that's what it's called. The Lakers. I don't want to call it a documentary so much, because it's all been cast with actors, and what an excellent series. What an excellent series it's been. I hope this thing never ends. I've totally enjoyed it, and it does make you, you know, I feel like you've seen behind the curtain, you know, in the locker room, understanding the relationship between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson and Jerry West, and why he didn't continue on as coach. And it's super interesting. And I can see why documentaries do spark interest, and thereby demand and value increases on some of these great players, great cards, because you feel like you get to know them a little bit better, and you know, you feel closer to them, and that's what nostalgia is. That helps to build it. So it's pretty cool. Have you seen this series?
I haven't. I've heard different things about it. I've heard that they were pretty rough on Pat Riley. Made his character look not maybe not as cool as, I mean, it's hard to look as cool as Pat Riley, but made him look not as cool as they could have. But while we're talking, Jeremy, that 1980 Topps PSA 10's up to 840 grand out the door. I don't know what the record on that is. Maybe somebody else can let us know, but it's getting there.
Well, look at that. I mean, it's got a population of 22, where the Jordan Fleer is 319 or whatever it is. I mean, this is 7 times as rare as the Michael Jordan rookie. And that's significant, right? Only 22 people can say they own a PSA 10 of this card. That is a special place to be. It's now past the Curry. I do have this price sorted by highest price, but I guess it doesn't update unless I refresh. So, yeah. And I don't want to refresh because I don't want to tempt or I don't want to challenge the bandwidth here that I have while I'm on Wi-Fi again from the hotel, my hotel room here in Edmonton, as I am again at the show. But yeah, that series is excellent. I recommend everybody watch it if you're interested in it. It was great. Pat Riley, I agree. They do make him look like a bit of a weenie or something like that. But I think they're setting it up for future episodes when he kind of grows out of that and has some success. So it's really enjoyable. Then the actors are great. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he looks like him. Magic Johnson's the actor looks like Magic. Like, they did a great job with the casting. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Of course, we have a Tom Brady leading the charge, contenders, championship ticket out of 100, $1.15 million. Now, this is, as Adam said, out the door. This is before buyer's premium, so we will see what this ends at, but it's coming out strong. I feel like we've seen this Curry card before. This patch looks familiar to me. Not sure why, but nice to see a great card like this out the door at $720,000 right now. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Like, if he didn't have so many home runs already to start the season, and I know you don't follow baseball, Adam, but I have to wonder if this card would be this high, 260, if he wasn't already killing. Like, he had 3 home runs. Was it yesterday or the day before? I guess the day before. He had 3 home runs.
Timing is everything.
That's no doubt. Ja, look at Ja kind of taking the place of having Zion on all these auctions as we've had in the past. There's a Jordan PSA 10 at 240 out the door. So kind of, I guess, where have those settled into recently? Remind me, Adam. Are those in the 200s, or are those still up in the 300s over the past few months?
I think we've seen a few that were in the mid 2s, and we've seen some that are in the low 3s based on quality, but I don't know for sure. That's not one that I watched super closely. Yeah.
Well, we'll see where it ends. It's a nice gauge of the hobby to see how the Jordan PSA 10 is doing. We have an orange refractor, Mike Trout, and Giannis RPA here, National Treasures at 180. A lot of Deshaun Watson, complete rainbow. Steph Curry, Topps Chrome refractor, PSA 10 at 170. That's over 200 grand right now out the door. Who's that? Cy Young. Red background, E98, set of 30. I'm not too familiar with this card, but it certainly looks nice. A Gem Mint 10 from 1910.
Amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And here we have a Luka RP. So Luka at 190 is now behind Ja at 220. Will be interesting to see. Oh, this is a BGS 9, so that might be a bit of a problem. Yeah. We will see where that ends up. Relative to each other. Here's your favorite card, Adam. The MJ ticket auto. Yeah, this card, as I said, it has definitely grown on me. A PSA 7, pop 1 of 2, 4 graded higher. Any predictions on this card, Adam, where you could see this ending kind of like, pre-buyer's premium?
I'm not very familiar with the MJ autograph market. The reason that I say it's one of my favorites of the auction, if not my favorite, is that he doesn't have a lot of autographs from when he was actually playing. And so he retired in 97, 98. That was where he retired the second time from the Bulls after the second set of 3 championships. So it's, there's just not a lot of Jordan playing days autographs, and this is true playing days Jordan MJ. One thing I can tell you about this UD3 set, the season tickets, is a long time ago when I was one of these guys who would just buy a lot of collections and flip cards a lot, I got an Anthony Hardaway in a lot. This was over 10 years ago. And one hadn't been on eBay in years. And so I bought the whole lot for like $80. And then I sold just the Hardaway for $300 and felt like I was king of the world, right? And then, you didn't see another one on eBay for a long time. That's because this set is particularly rare and difficult. I don't think there's anything wrong with a PSA 7, especially in a new label. I don't know who's selling this card. I don't know who will win it. It might already be a record for all I know, but I think that's a beautiful card. It looks like the autograph's very nice. So it's from the 90s. It's rare. It's Jordan. It's a beautiful card.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that. Friedman says, can't forget the cameo of baby Kobe Bean in the series. That is true. That was really cool to see a young Kobe. I'm guessing he was an actor, and I can't remember the exact context of the cameo, but I agree, Friedman. That was definitely cool. Timeless Cardboard wants to see some vintage. Yeah, let's see some vintage. I am with you on that. Luke wants to know what we think about the Herbert PSA 9. We'll talk about it when we get to it, Luke. Don't have it top of mind right now. And another auditor in the room tonight, Adam. Skeppy says that the Bird Match is actually 15 times more rare than the Jordan Fleer and PSA 10. Thanks, Skeppy, for pulling out the calculator. I was going off the top of my head. And Jacob turned off the NBA playoffs for this. Hey, there you go. Hashtag the hobby. Way to go, Jacob. All right, let's keep on going here. We have a Charizard at 140,000. Not your standard Charizard, a Japanese base set hollow, no rarity. PSA 10, pop 1 of 7, signed on the case by, I'm guessing, the artist. That's pretty cool. We have a Fernando Tatis Jr. at 120 grand and a Juan Soto at 110. Lots. Those Bowman Chrome baseball prospect rookie autos always do so well, and I don't know enough about that market, but boy, are they always impressive what they sell for. We have a box of 86 clear here, Adam.
I was just gonna say, is your internet, or is it dicey enough that tonight we're gonna stay away from looking at the cards, zooming in and spinning them around in the 360 like we usually do?
We'll give it a try. I don't want to tempt I just don't want to tempt the Wi-Fi gods, but we'll give it a shot for sure.
Okay.
Here's the BGS 9 Star 101 MJ that you referred to earlier. I mean, this is a spectacular grade for the card. The centering, you don't see, it's an 8.5. You don't see centering much better than that. It actually, from this view, it looks even better than 8.5 to me. From this view, the left to right looks really good. Top to bottom, okay, it's a little bit low. Maybe that's where it is. But side to side is usually so much worse on this card. This copy really looks good. And it's got an NBA sticker on it, meaning that there's another opinion on the eye appeal quality of it for the grade. It also has the above average designation by PWCC. So lots of people think that this is a very strong card. Anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah, I was just going to say, your comment on the centering is spot on. This card is historically left to right. The left edge is almost always far thinner than the right is, and so from my perspective, looking at it in this small view right here, that's about as good as you're going to get on this card. I think it was MK Sports Cards on Instagram recently posted about this and said that in the history of Beckett, and remember PSA doesn't grade this card, in the history of Beckett, there's only a few more than 1,000 ever that have been graded. I think somebody might want to fact check me on that, but every time I sort of sit there and actually let my brain sort of settle on this idea that this really rare Jordan card is his first card and there's only that many, every time I do that, I sort of have this kick in the side that's like, Adam, you should get one of these. You should get one of these, because it is a really rare card of the very first card of easily the most collected player, maybe in our whole hobby, but certainly in basketball. And this grade right here, I think, is the best we've seen. I don't think we've seen anything. I mean, I think there's only 395s in the world. So this is one of them that I'm sort of watching tonight to see how it does. But definitely congrats to whoever grabs this one tonight.
Yeah, it's a card. I'm with you. I've always favored the 86 Fleer. I still do, but I do think that this would be a great card to pair with the 86 Fleer, not to replace it. I wouldn't ever only own the 84 star, but I would love to own both of them and have them together. And then it's like, who cares which one's the true rookie or what people think is the true rookie? They're both early enough cards. This is obviously earlier, while the 86 Fleer I think is nicer. It's got the iconic shot, so the iconic image of him going in for a dunk. But to have them together, I think that'd be really special. Is this the second Jaw RPA that we've seen? It's okay. It's a parallel, the Stars and Stripes parallel version. So not the same as the one above, but
it is.
Jaw there.
It is, but the patch, it's pretty interesting. The patch is almost identical to the first patch. I was looking at it earlier going, oh, wow, look, what are the odds of that? So they look pretty, just especially when you just look at them real quick. But you're right that this one's the parallel. I think this one, I mean, I don't know my newer basketball as well as I should, but I believe that this one is like an acetate sort of front of the card.
Okay.
It might be a good one to sort of zoom in on later if we get a chance.
And look at this. I just love this card. Wish I owned one. 52 tops mantle, PSA 5.5 at $120,000. I mean, the centering is off left to right, but hey, it's a 5.5, so it's going to be. But what a just a magnificent card. I don't know how often we use the word magnificent to describe cards on the show, on these shows, Adam, but that this time I think it fits. And then we have our first hockey card of the night. Now there are two of these at the Edmonton show this weekend. Both, I can't recall the grades, but there are two of them. I think one's an 8.5. I'm not sure about the other one. Maybe it's a 9 as well. But here we have a Connor McDavid 2015, the Cup RPA at a 99, a BGS 9, $100,000 right now. I'm curious to see where that one ends. Then we have a Herbert National Treasures RPA also at 100. Hey, look at that. Connor McDavid is now rolling with Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, another Justin Herbert. Who is up here? Not these, a little bit lower than the mantle. And then we have to go on to page 2. Before we do that, I'm going to scroll to the top, address some comments while we see the bids come in. And look at that. We were just talking about the Cy Young, and it gets another bid. The PSA 10 from 1910 is up to $240,000. Is that Anthony Edwards right there, Adam?
That's it. That's the card I was talking about. I can't really afford the big cards that I was saying are my favorite cards. There was a card that I was just going to buy tonight because I could maybe afford it and because I really liked it. It might be that Edwards, especially if it stays low. I know it's a 7.5, but that's exactly the sort of thing I go for. A 1/1 rookie year. That's a really cool Edwards card. And you and I have talked about it before. We both have this sort of love for Immaculate. So that's a neat card for sure.
Are you qualified to bid on that card still tonight?
I'm not. This will be the first auction that I didn't bid on anything. I'm just one of our watchers mentioned earlier. Don't think less of me. I've just spent so much money on Harry Potter cards. I have to take a break or I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. I've just spent, here's my most recent mail day, Harry and Malfoy on the same card. I spent way too much money on Harry Potter. That's it. That's enough on that.
I just like how you started out off by saying, don't think less of me.
Well, it's funny because
hey, collect what you like.
I'm a basketball card guy. It's the only thing I've ever collected in my life. And then this last 2 months, I've just gone absolutely crazy, Jeremy. So you're going to have to come stop me.
Allen Iverson's getting bids. Aaron Rodgers, a dual logo man. There's Zion. Look at Zion's still getting love. 27K worth of love. Not as much as he used to. It is just a PSA 7. But interested to see where this one ends relative to historical runnings of that card at auction. Jeff Hart, thank you for the congrats. Much appreciated. Thomas Newman says, can't afford both. The hobby makes good sense. Dave Bulleton once saw the Mantle Maze glued together back to back. Expensive arts project right there for sure. Friedman, Lakers played the Clippers in the season opener. His dad played for the Clippers, and they made reference to that and just having a son named Kobe Bean. That's right, I remember. Thanks for the reminder, Friedman. Again, watch it. I think it's called Winning Time, something like that. Great 6 episodes so far. Maybe the 7th's come out already. James says the 86 Fleer box seems low right now. Adam, any idea where that should end? Think about it for 1 sec. I want to bring Friedman's comment first. John C. Riley as Jerry Buss is a PSA 10. He is amazing at it. Totally amazing. Jeremy Pringle was at the show today. Good to see you, Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in. Dave wants to know, is the Fleer box authenticated? It might have something to do with the price. Let's scroll down and take a peek again, because it's not that far down here.
You're right on it.
There we go. Factory original. Yeah, it's BBCE authenticated, letter of authenticity. So it is. And who knows? Maybe it'll get more bids and extended. We'll see. But I'd be curious to know, where the last one ended versus where this one ends up finishing off. So we'll see.
This price is definitely low right now.
Timeless cardboard. What I love about pre-war. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I think we've got a little bit of a lag, but I know that I don't know the pricing super well on the 86 Fleer, but I know it well enough to know that this price is low. The thing that's important to remember on this is not all of these boxes are sort of created equal based on grade and based on what's stated about the packs and things like that. It might be worth looking on the inner part of that auction to see if there's something descriptive that sort of lets us know why it's selling for less, or maybe it is just a really good deal, but definitely worth looking into.
Definitely. Maybe Drake will buy it, or maybe Ken Golden will buy it and break it with Drake. Drake can buy it off him, and they can maybe Drake will buy it, send it to Ken, and they can open it together on Instagram again. Timeless says, what I love about pre-war and vintage is the simplicity of the modern have too much going on. Is the simplicity of them. Modern has too much going on. I mean, there's definitely some simplicity in vintage cards. I cannot argue with that at all. But there are some modern day cards that I find to be simple and clean. But I hear you. A lot of the modern day cards are, when you have tiger stripes and elephant spots on cards, there's a little bit much going on for sure. Thank you, Fire. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Yo, Joe. So yeah, and I'm sorry if we're having lag or any Wi-Fi issues, because I am coming to you guys tonight from my hotel room Wi-Fi service. So Adam, let's go scroll to the top. We've been through the first page. Let's see what's going on. Anthony Edwards, another bid. That's a different card. That's a beautiful card right there for 60K. Jay-Z getting bids. KD. Zion's all over the ticker tonight here. Are you surprised? What's his status right now? Is he coming back? Where are things at with him?
It's always a mystery with Zion. It's funny because we hear reports of things like his camp and the team have a disagreement on whether he's able to play. His camp thinks that he's ready. The team doesn't. You just never know who to believe in these types of situations. But the thing, we've seen a couple of videos of him doing crazy, like off the backboard, between the legs dunks. You would assume if somebody can do that sort of thing, that he should be able to play. The irony is, here they are, in the playoffs. They shouldn't have made the playoffs, but they did. And so, I mean, how crazy, I know this isn't going to happen, but how crazy would it be if Zion comes out for, in the playoffs and plays real games? That wouldn't be very fair for the Suns, the number one overall seed, to face that out of the gate. But I think there's just still a lot of people who are so high on him in his games that he's played thus far. I think it's 85 games he's played in 3 years. He's been absolutely incredible. And so, you start sort of thinking about like who he could be if he could stay healthy for a couple of years. And he's somebody who could just be a one-man wrecking crew, but he's got to stay on the court. And it seems like it's pretty unlikely that'll be for New Orleans, in my opinion. All
right. Well, let's see what the chat has to say about Zion. We've had a few comments roll in here. Mike Petty says, first of all, Zion ain't Willis Reed, Adam. Dream on.
I agree, Mike.
Wants to know, am I in the same hotel as Brad from PSA Canada? Yeah. I don't know which hotel he's at, but I saw him throughout the show today. Always good to see Brad. Daniel says he'll play again, and when he does, he's going to be hot again. Mike Petty provides some real great analysis here. His status is I'll let you guys read that for yourself. And Dave Bolaton calls him Dollar Bin Zion. Too funny. Hello, Jenny Miller. Here we go. Dave says, simply put, if a professional athlete with Zion's build height can't keep his weight below 300 pounds, he won't end up being anyone other than an NBA player that didn't make it. Time will tell. Time will tell. And it's a lot of people with a lot of money tied up in him. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Earlier on, when we were looking up here, Adam, we saw that Kobe go by, the on-card auto, the 2 patches. It's just a stunning card. I don't know if it was immaculate or national treasures or was it flawless. What a good-looking card that was. Holy moly! And this Mahomes is beautiful too. Just gorgeous, gorgeous.
Look at
card.
that. Look at that Alcindor in a 9, Jeremy.
Yeah. The SGC 9.
If it's a PSA 9, it's just huge, So anyway, that's what I was talking about earlier when I said you got all these really high grade copies of sort of the more iconic cards. I also have to give a shout out to all-time great Jazz man. My Jazz got a win today in game 1 of the playoffs. John Stockton there with Chris Paul on that dual logo, man. I think that might be the first Jazz card we've seen in the Premier Auction. So kind of cool.
There's the Kobe, the BGS 9.5 at 19,000. Yep. That might be the most beautiful. The most beautiful card of Kobe that I've ever seen. I just love it. And I guess just to be certain, I don't know anything about whose card that is or anything like that. Zion look at that. Zion up to 110K now. People must still believe. And I just remembered, look at this. I did a ticker. I did a banner here. Total lots in the auction here for if anybody's interested. 324 total lots. And there are the breakdown by category. Again, basketball dominating, followed by football, baseball, soccer, hockey. And it's interesting to note, if you look at this banner here, how many lots each player has. The leaders, Jordan and Brady, tied at 27. Jordan and Brady both have more lots than hockey, golf, and what was the other one? Hockey,
soccer?
Golf, and soccer combined.
Yeah.
So pretty nuts. All right, let's go to some more comments here, and then we'll have a look through page 2 then. James is cheering for the Jazz. I know, Jenny Miller. I said the same thing. Vladdy, 280K for Vlad. It helps when you hit 3 home runs in one game a couple days before the auction ends. Jordan is cheering for the Mavs. And look at the Lou Gehrig. Beautiful Lou Gehrig, 33 Gaudi 7 hits the ticker there. What just a gorgeous card. Absolute stunner. And there's the Vladdy. It's up to 360 out the door. That is pretty nuts.
You missed the Stockton Chris Paul too. Look at that card. That's a great one. Do you like those, Jeremy? I don't think I've ever talked about it before. Do you like the exquisite dual logo, man?
I do, actually. And, I made the comment yesterday at the show here in Edmonton. Oh, good. There's a good view of it. That, NHL has the cup for NHL has the shield cards, the NHL shield cards. Those are the equivalent of the logo men. And when you look at a bunch of them, I don't think they're all that impressive because they're not colorful. Generally speaking, they're not colorful. They're usually black and silver. Sometimes there's some orange in them, but they're often just black and silver. And whereas the logo man has blue and red and white, it's just a much nicer, I believe, just a nicer aesthetic. So I like the additional colors. So for that reason, or with that said, yes, I do like the logo men, but I still prefer, for me, a nice patch that has the team's colors. It's got to be a nice one. I'm just not a logo men, shield cards, the NFL shield. Those things they've never been cards that I've chased for my personal collection.
Interesting. I've always felt like if you were to just take the dimensions of a card and wanted to fit as much on one side of it as reasonably could be fit from the perspective of something that was game used and an autograph, I always kind of felt like a dual logo man auto was about the most you can put on a card and still have some design around it that makes some sense. Exquisite really knocked it out of the park with those. Panini's never really gotten the same quality. And they tried a lot of the rookies a couple years ago in Immaculate, and they've done a couple things that aren't rookies over the last year or two. But that's one thing I would love to see is like a return to like for example, like a Steph Curry, Kevin Durant dual logo man auto. Like I'd love to see something like that. And we just haven't seen too many of those types of cards over the last few years.
Yeah, fair. Okay, let's go run through page 2 here while we have it up. Justin Herbert NTRPA, very nice, but I got to rush to this card here, the Joe Montana. This card, we don't see the pop on it, but I believe it's very low. I believe it's somewhere under 20, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. If anyone can fact check that, I'd appreciate it. What's the pop on the PSA 10 Joe Montana? But I believe it's similar to the 80 Topps Magic Larry Dr. J card. And 95,000 is going to break 100. We've seen a couple of them in the last little bit here, but I am curious where this one ends. It has an eye appeal ranking by PWCC as well, so you might get a bit of a premium because of that. But what a great card, and fitting that it's sitting right next to the GOAT who superseded Joe Montana as GOAT, being the Tom Brady SPA PSA 10. Another great card. It's good to see those two right beside each other right now. I think that makes some sense. And then one of my favorite cards that I don't own a copy of, I used to have a PSA 8 of this card in my collection that I had bought raw and had graded myself 15 years ago. And boy, I would like to acquire another copy for my collection, and I will one day. Oh, this is from the Dimitri Young collection too, which is kind of cool. I got to see these on display at the National, whatever year that was, about, I don't know, 2013, 14, 15, in there somewhere. But I do love this card. It's just, I love the green and the yellow, how they play off each other. What do you think? How do you like it?
If you think about 1980s baseball, that's one of the cards, right? You've got the Ripken rookie, you've got obviously the Griffey rookie in '89. Maybe you think about Don Mattingly, but I think about the Rickey Henderson is one of the sort of in between modern and vintage real key cards from my childhood. I'm sure it's even more so for yours. I also know that as a PSA 10, that card's exceptionally rare. So very cool card.
Yeah. This one and this one are cards I love. Absolutely. Oh, and there's the Brady Bowman Chrome Refractor, PSA 9, another a great card. Mr. Anthony Edwards. We've got Joe Burrow making an appearance, another Justin Herbert. He seems to be all over the place tonight. And again, I'm going to just bring this up for a second to see the players with the most listings tonight. Where does Herbert fall? I didn't put him on here, I guess. So I counted a bunch. He must have been about maybe only 3 or so, because I did go through and try to add anyone who had 4 or more, but I might have missed the odd guy because I just didn't go deep enough through the listings to do the search. There's a Jordan SGC 10 falling way behind the PSA 10, which was sitting at 200. I mean, we seem to talk about this on the regular. I don't know that we need to spend time on it again, Adam, but any quick comment on it before we roll along? Just the disparity between the SGC 10 and the PSA 10, and is that ever going to close?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing more and more of is people buying the card, not the grade, and that's especially clear as you compare different copies within the same grader, right? If a PSA 10 can range from 250 or 240,000 up to what was the big one? Was it 750 or 800,000 for a card that's in the same grade? My question is always, well, if this SGC 10 is convertible into a PSA 10, that might provide a great opportunity for somebody else. And so there's people who are much more confident in their abilities to do that than I am in mine. But I would always just, if you've got a great eye for that sort of thing, that's something to consider as you look at some of these, non-PSA cases.
Well said. Let's go to a couple comments coming through. Friedman says, Vladdy Jr. to the moon. Prices are catching up to his long balls. No doubt. Timeless says, the people living in 2086 will be spending the equivalent on Jordan cards as we do today for Ruth cards. Both will be icons forever. I agree with that. Jordan will always be an icon. I think that's kind of just a gimme at this point in time. Let's see. Jenny Miller wonders what some of these people do for a living. I can't imagine spending that kind of money on a card. And I think it just comes to, it's all relative, right? It's all just relative. The more money you make, the more you can spend on a card. I heard a funny story today about a guy who went up to a booth and saw a card that he'd been looking for. The card had a price tag of $10,000 on it. The guy said, I'll take it. Counted out the money, apparently counted out $1,200 too much. The guy said, oh, well, here, let me give you back your $1,200. And the guy said, no, I'll just find another card for $1,200. He looks around, he says, oh, there's a card for $1,200. I'll just take that one. Like, I don't even know if he thought about it. That was a pretty funny story that someone told me today. Jacob S, 107 pop on the Joe Montana PSA 10. So, okay, significantly more than the Magic Larry rookie, but a third of the Michael Jordan rookie. And, obviously Joe Montana is Michael Jordan, but still a great player who didn't get the hobby love I think he was worthy of until recently. People seem to be talking more about him and taking more notice of him. All right, let's just finish along the page here. There's another Jaw. Isn't this must be the third
Yes.
RPA we've seen of his already? A Jordan sticker in a PSA 10, 75 grand. And here we have a Roberto Clemente PSA 8. I mean, Adam, even though you're not a baseball guy, tell me you respect and admire a card like the 55 tops Roberto rookie.
I think the 55 tops, I think our friend Dr. Beckett will agree with us on this. It's one of the nicest baseball sets ever made. I love 55 and 56 tops for the artwork, the color. They're fantastic. And so baseball is clearly not my main thing. It's not, but I used to dabble in the vintage baseball. More than dabbled. I actually owned a Mantle rookie at one point. I don't know if you knew that. But I love that set, and that's about as nice of a card as you're going to find from that set.
It is beautiful. Yes, it's a great card. Jerry Rice. There we go. You can't talk about Joe Montana without also talking about Jerry Rice. So nice to see him on the same page here in the PSA 10. Another low pop card. They didn't put a sub. I'd like to see that on here. I'd like to see more pop reports on some of these high grade GOAT type of cards like the Jerry Rice right here. Beautiful. I love this card. I'm having a painting done of this one pretty soon to go with some of the ones I've already had done. Panini Prism, orange Luka Doncic out of 49, a PSA 10, followed by the Mahomes. Look at a gorgeous card that is. That's just, I don't know, I think that's beautiful. Flawless. It gets me, flawless and immaculate, get me every time. I still don't understand why NT is kind of perceived as the best or the most valuable. Like flawless and to me, both flawless and immaculate, just put NT almost, I don't be so severe as to say to shame, because NT is still a beautiful card, but these two are just, from an eye appeal perspective for me, or aesthetics perspective, superior to NT for me.
Hey Jeremy, on that point, I don't know if you saw this, but I did a poll this week. It was kind of inspired by a conversation I was having with somebody on one of my posts on Instagram, and he was saying he felt like NT was kind of by far the product that people were going to remember best. And I think there's a case for that, especially because maybe one of the most iconic Panini cards is definitely the Steph Curry NT. It just is. So the poll that I did was I put up the 4 brands that I felt like have the best, the best names, that are the best known, and that was Prism, NT, Immaculate, and Flawless. I was kind of surprised to see how the poll turned out. Did you happen to see it?
No.
Okay. So by far Prism won. It wasn't even close. That didn't surprise me. I think most people at this point would tell you that Prism is the most known Panini brand. I was surprised when second was Flawless. I would have guessed that second would have been National Treasures, but I certainly like Flawless most out of between that and National Treasures. Immaculate's got some stuff going for it that I really love too, but I don't think you're alone in your Flawless love. And I wonder if as time goes by, that's something that really, and not only with the stars, but also with the rookies, because a lot of those rookie patches like that Mahomes we were just looking at, I think that was a rookie year. I might be wrong on that. Those are really seeing a lot of growth over the course of the last 6 months.
Yeah, this is a rookie patch. Rookie out of 25, so maybe not a true RC, but definitely a rookie year, rookie card patch parallel, or just simple parallel. Beautiful card. I just wanted to check, as someone mentioned that maybe the site was down, but it seems to be running okay for us here as we saw the clock reset half a minute ago when the bid came in on the MJ here. So that was good to see. Hopefully everything is running smoothly on the back end. Before we look at these next 4 cards, I'm going to do a few comments here. Billy J wants to know any thoughts on HGA, ownership change and shutdown. I heard about the ownership change. I did not hear about the shutdown. Just to me, just a trivial piece of information as far as my hobby experience goes. So I'll leave it at that. I don't think, Adam, you have much to add, unless you do.
Just say I've heard people say nice things about the slabs. It's really hard to grow. It's really hard to grow and create a grading company. Incredibly difficult. Jacob
says that Montana also only has 1 rookie card. That's a good point, and it's different than MJ, where the jury is out. If there seems to be a bit of, you have 2 factions as far as the MJ goes, right? And so that's a really good point that we don't really consider, or at least I haven't considered when I've compared, rookie cards of other goats to MJ. When you're looking at the overall population, you're not really considering that. Well, maybe you have to add in not only the 86 Fleer MJs, but the Star 101s in the Beckett slabs.
That's right.
Because there aren't many. I think there's only like 6 or 7 in PSA slabs, something like that. So that's a good point, Jacob. Something to consider.
I think one thing that we talked about last month, or maybe 2 months ago, Jeremy, was, remember when we were comparing the Rice to Steve Young? We recognized, Steve Young does have the USFL rookie too. And as you get into those later football years, like you get to 89, I think, and then everybody's got multiple rookies. And so, that Montana, and that's that sweet spot there where those guys still, they're more modern, but they still only had 1 rookie card. And even though the population's just over 100, that's definitely not a huge number.
No, definitely not. Vintage card, can you comment on the Deshaun Watson Prism lot? Man, that price puzzles me. Really not. I'm not that up on Deshaun Watson myself, and I know Adam isn't either. So I don't think we can, but hopefully the chat can jump in and provide some discussion on that. Skeppy says Jim Beckett likes 56 tops. I think that is correct. I think he probably likes 55 too. I'm sure he likes 55 too, but 56 might be the one that he's known for liking. And Whisk Collectible says Jerry Rice is a pop 59 on his PSA 10 RC. So that's like almost half of, or just over half of what Joe Montana's is. And another, like, just an iconic card, definitely one worth owning. Maybe not in a PSA 10. Well, would be worth it, but maybe not affordable for most. But something I'd love to have. I used to own a PSA 9, and I sold it a long time ago, and I would certainly love to own one of those again, along with Ricky Henderson. A couple of guys that I've, going to have to get back into the PC. Let's see what's going on here. So we kind of stalled on looking at page 2 here, but Louis, I don't know if it's Louis or Lewis, but I do know it's Robert. Lewis Robert, BGS 9.5. This card's out of 5 at 75K. Dual auto here. Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, with jerseys, autographs. They seem to be on card. I'm not 100% certain. From this angle. They are on card, but Adam, I'm sure there's something special about this card. Why don't you provide some color on it?
Yeah. We always say rarity wins. And if you are either a Magic Johnson or a Michael Jordan collector, or a rare exquisite collector, this checks a lot of boxes. I would argue 04 Exquisite is the best designed year of Exquisite. The base set is beat probably by 05 Exquisite, but the limited logos are fantastic, and so many other aspects of the set are just incredible. There's not a lot of dual autographs in Exquisite through the years that have the jerseys and the patches and things like that. And so, if you were to say, hey, show me a rare Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, exquisite autographed sort of / uniform card, there's not a lot to choose from. And to find one that's to 2, it's just not hard to understand why something like this. I mean, we see it over and over again, Jeremy, like the times where something jumps into the hundreds of thousands of dollars and we're going, whoa, that's shocking. It's almost always a card that's numbered to 2 or 3 or 4. Those ones that really go way higher than we think, they're the cards that are really rare. So I'm actually not surprised at this price at all right now.
Yeah, no. And Vintage Card Collector says that Steve Young's PSA 10 went for 120K last auction with buyer's premium. Rice only at 90 right now. And that would surprise. I would expect Rice to go higher, all things being equal. But of course, all things are not equal. So it comes down to the population differential there. I think that I got to think the Young is lower than the Rice. That would be my guess based on just my gut from last month. Jenny Miller, is the clock resetting for all cards when there's a bid on one of the cards? Yes, I believe it is. I've never heard of this site. Just not sure how it works. Just curious. And Friedman says, rest in peace, Mike Bossy. If anybody doesn't know who Mike Bossy is, he is one of the most prolific goal scorers in hockey of all time. And he won 4 consecutive Stanley Cups with the New York Islanders in the early 80s. Really a legend of the sport, and died young at the age of, I believe, 64 or 65. So thanks, Friedman, for reminding us of that.
Hey, Jeremy, can we go back to Jenny's comment real quick?
Sure.
So I think it's a brave person who's willing to put their hand in the air and say, I don't understand this. I hope this isn't a dumb question. I always admire people who are willing to sort of say, I don't know what's going on here. And so I think it's worth just identifying real quick that if you're just used to like a traditional eBay auction that just ends at one time, the auction houses have really changed, how we think about auctions. The idea now is we want to provide a chance for everybody who wants to put a bid in to be able to put that bid in. And then if you lose, it's because you just weren't willing to pay. Right. And so the way that PWCC has done that is a little bit different than anybody else. And personally, it's my favorite. This auction's going to go right now. We're in extended bidding. And as long as there's a bid every 5 minutes, we're going to keep going until the point where there will be 1 minute bid increments. And then there will be a period of time where 60 seconds goes by without anybody bidding. And then at that moment, Jenny, the whole auction will end. And when the whole auction ends, whoever's the high bidder on each of the 300 and whatever number of auctions, they will be the winner. So that is very different than what we're used to in the, like I said, the world of eBay. But I personally love it, especially on super high end cards like this, because if I'm bidding on that thing, I want a chance to really win it, and I don't want to get sniped for a penny at the end. So it's a different way to look at it, but I think the reception so far, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but what I've heard, people love the Premier Auction. They love this event. And, it's just sort of something fun every month that we can do to, see a whole bunch of high-end auctions end at the same time.
No, yeah. Thanks for calling us back to that, Adam, and for providing the explanation. And the one thing that I want to also point out is that the PWCC monthly Premier Auction, it ends differently than the weekly Sunday auctions. With the weekly Sundays, what happens with those ones is that once an auction has no more bids in that bid window, in the bid window, just those auctions end, and the other ones will continue. So as long as there are bids in that, in the extended bidding period, you see the overall amount of live listings whittled down over time. And the Premier Auction, as Adam explained, is yes, once there are no more bids for any 1 minute duration. And on the ticker right now, you can see we're showing here that from 7 till 8 p.m. Pacific, there's a 5 minute window, meaning that if there is no bid for any 5 minutes on any item, then the whole thing ends. From 8 to 8:30, it goes to 2 minute extensions. And after 8:30 p.m. Pacific, it's 1 minute extension. So if during any of those windows there are no bids, the whole auction ends. Okay, hope that is clear. And I apologize for any choppiness that you were experiencing. Again, I am in a hotel room running on hotel Wi-Fi, when usually I am hardwired right in to my internet. Okay, thanks for that, everybody. Mike says he doesn't understand it either. Hopefully we were able to just somewhat explain it. Speaking about Mike Bossy, he was good, period. Again, Friedman reminds us that Mike Bossy just passed away, I believe, yesterday. Someone told me at the card show. I didn't even know yet. T-Dot says that Mike Bossy had the most goals per game average in the history of any player. That's very, very impressive. There we go. Pop 9 on the Steve Young rookie.
Yeah.
So I would expect that to potentially outsell Jerry Rice, even though Jerry Rice is, the more popular player, I would think. Teapot in the house. Good evening. Good evening, Teapot. Welcome to the show. All right. Ovechkin is the hockey, says Cracked Card Comp. Well, Ovechkin, a card of Ovechkin's, we were talking about it earlier, did sell today or yesterday for apparently $140,000. Now, I did not see the money move, but that's what I had heard as well. But I did see the deal go down. So I should say it was at the booth across from me. So I did witness the action.
Hey, Jeremy.
With collectibles, whose record? Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
So you say while they're still up, you see there's those 2 Jason Tatum National Treasures rookies that are up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure. One of them looks like it's the maybe the gold that's to 10.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen Tatum in a Premier Auction just yet, but this illustrates this idea of timing again in a really interesting way, because Boston is playing like out of this world basketball right now. And last month or 2 months ago, if you would have said, oh, they've got a chance of winning the championship, no one would have even taken you serious. Now you got to look at those Tatums in a little bit of a different way. Now, I'm not saying they will, and I think they got to play Brooklyn in the first round, right? So it's not going to be any cakewalk even to win a first round series. But Tatum is leveling up right now. His last couple of months have been really incredible. I don't own a single Tatum card. I'm not going to buy either of these either, but I point those out because when you see the really high prices still with Ja and with Zion, and Ja could go win a championship too, to be fair, but it's those types of sort of moments, like those types of like, hey, could this happen, that I sort of try to look for. It won't be shocking to me if Boston goes and wins the championship, and these cards are both worth literally 3 to 4 times what they're worth right now in a matter of a couple of months. So I just, while they were both up, wanted to highlight it. Now I've done a good job of talking for a long time, and they're not on the board anymore. But do you have any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on those?
Well, yeah, my thought when it comes to timing, my thoughts are that the hobby is just so finicky when it comes to day-to-day performance, and it seems like people just repeatedly cannot zoom out and just look at the hobby from a bird's eye view and say that like when you're buying a card, Vladdy Jr., a great example. Now, not to say that these players aren't going to have illustrious long careers with championships, but it's very risky. It's tough to do that for any athlete, right? So to put all this kind of money into Vladdy Jr., to put all this money into Jason Tatum, to put all the money like we've seen get put into Jason Dominguez in the past, you're just taking a lot of risk, because right now, today, April 2022, these players are playing well. When the next season starts and they don't win the first few games, those cards are not going to sustain that value if that happens. So, I mean, it's great action. It makes for good content. It makes for fun discussion. Does it make for a great investment? You got to get lucky at that point, I think, or you just have to be you have to be able to scout. You have to be able to. You have to be like Brian Dennison. You have to be able to scout these players.
Yeah.
And Cajun Cardboard is the guy I'm referring to, Brian blends an intimate knowledge of basketball and the skill sets and the logistics and everything about the sport with collecting. Whereas if we're just buying cards because we see what the market's doing, and you're not actually able to properly assess talent, then you're really taking a lot of risks on some of these young guys. So again, back to your question here. Now it's my turn to talk a lot about something that maybe we didn't need to spend as much time on, but quite simply, my thoughts are that it's risky. It's risky to buy a player when they're peaking, and when they're peaking on performance-wise, not necessarily market-wise. So
the hard part is you never know where that peak is, right? And if and again, back to my point, if he's going to go win the championship now, he's not at his peak, right? right now would be the best. Now, right now would be an incredible time to buy because you're getting his best rookie card back there, what people think of as his best rookie card, for price that's just significantly less than other guys right now who are worth so much more so just because of the hype. It kind of reminds me, back in 2014, I spent a ton of money on Anthony Davis stuff. Anthony Davis was not the guy that we know him as today, and he was the number 1 overall pick, but he just wasn't worth a lot of money. But I could just see that his market and his performance didn't line up. So I went really long on it, and then his stuff blew up. And that is happening all the time. And so people are trying to time those things. But what's best is when you can time it with a guy who's going to go win the championship. And I think Boston's probably one of the 2 or 3 teams that have the best chance of winning a championship. Now, again, they could lose in the first round. Don't get me wrong. It's just that speaks to the parity of the league. But there are worse bets out there right now, I think, is what I'm trying to say, than
Sure.
that team, because they're on fire, man. They're winning everything. They're incredible right now.
Yeah. And let me add, when it comes to Jason Tatum, he was a player that back, I feel like about a year ago, I was watching him play. I was watching highlights, listening to people talk about him. And I was thinking, that's a guy that, if I'm going to dabble in basketball, that's a player that I should maybe pick up a card or 2 of and, get behind him, sort of thing. I didn't. And now, I missed that opportunity. And but I had the inclination to do that on Jason Tatum, and I didn't. And, as far as value appreciation investment goes, missed opportunity. As far as collecting goes, hey, I can still buy a card and collect him. That's not a problem, although it'll cost me more now than it would have then. It comes back to something I've said before, when some people are always asking, where is there still opportunity in the hobby? And I would just say, find something you like and go with your gut on it. Go with your gut, whether it's a player, a set, a brand, a year, an issue, whatever it may be. Okay, let's run through some more comments here. I saw Jordan asked me if I had time to eat. I did, Jordan. I was packed up from the show by about 6:20. Went and picked up some food and came back to the hotel and set up my streaming station here right at the little hotel desk. And these things aren't very big. I'm not in my comfortable chair right now. Jenny wanted to thank you, Adam, for the description on how the auction ends. Very nice. JH, when will Upper Deck have rookie cards for players who debuted recently? As soon as they get the printing presses back up and running, I think they will come out in due course. It's tough to say, during COVID, it's tough to say when brands are coming out. But in typical fashion, it would have come out in Series 1, which would have been right around the middle of November. After the season starts in October is when we would have usually seen them. Spurs cards, good evening. Teapot again, hello. Very nice. Vintage card collector wants us to talk about the 1980 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky PSA 10s. This is the second year Gretzky. I love the card. I love the card in general. I will take a look at this copy vintage. Just be patient. We will get to it. I want to say I promise. So I promise. My intention is to get there. Definitely. T-Dot says it's for the gamblers of the hobby with high risk profile. Yeah, on prospects, putting a lot of money into young players. I agree with that, definitely. Jenny Miller, it's cool and interesting to see the pop reports of 80s cards, whereas to shows today, every dealer has a PSA 10 of Louis Robert or Gavin Lux. Yeah, 100% correct on that, Jenny. JH says Cajun is a fun follow. Watch him on 2 times speed. It's awesome. Yeah, you have me laughing, Jay. Yeah. Brian he's a sharp guy. He knows basketball probably better than anybody I've ever come across, for sure. Tom Newman likes the Bronze Stars Mahomes. Yes, very nice. Crack says, how about a Zero Cool Malice at the Palace throwback release? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Use the connections and get it done. I'll drop it on next time I talk to Luber. I'll mention it. Cracked up card. I'll mention it for sure. Luke says the Herbert PSA 9 is a steal under 100K, 1 out of 3 in a PSA 9 and only 1 in a 10. There you go. It's a steal. It comes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. It's a steal. Maybe it's a steal in today's values. Will it be a steal at tomorrow's values? The values a year from now, 2 years from now? Again, not trying to incentivize anyone or influence anybody not to make a bid, but it really just comes down. Timing is so important, as we said, and when players are hot, it's hard not to get wrapped up in it though, right, Adam? It's hard not to get wrapped up in players that are hot. But if you can kind of have some discipline, you can make some, I think, better decisions from an investment perspective.
Well, what I would say about that is it's not that you don't want to ever buy cards of players who are hot. The question is, are they going to outperform that? Because in 2003, LeBron James was hot. And we should all go back in time with our time machines and go buy as many LeBron Jameses as we could. And in 1988 or 89, when the first basketball Beckett came out, the Jordan Flair rookie was really hot. Like, it's so you want to do it right, and there's it's just so difficult to. That's why we love it, right? It's so difficult to predict this stuff. But what I'm sort of saying, and again, that Jason Tatum's up there again. It's at 70 grand right now. That's the number to 10 version. That's one of his best cards. When I compare that to other young guys, that doesn't make sense to me. It's too low of a number. And again, I've never bought a Jason Tatum card. I don't know who's selling, or I have no reason to sort of like try to inflate that. But when I look at that card, I go, that makes sense. Like that could be something here. And especially if he goes and he wins it. So, I think you and I, Jeremy, neither of us, more of us, or we collect more things that have come out, that are older, and we do less of the dabbling today. But there's a lot of people who do really well with today's stuff and with hot stuff, and so I think we got to be a little bit careful to sort of, we don't want to lump all of that together. Like a lot of people, that's really like a fun part of the hobby, and you can make some real, winners and money on some of that stuff as well.
100%. Sorry if there's any lag right now, guys. Yes, I agree 100%, Adam. It's like Connor McDavid in hockey. When his cards first came out, I was saying that, I'm not going to get into that game because I don't want to take that risk if he doesn't turn out. Can you hear me? You can hear me, yeah? I don't want to take that risk on Connor McDavid if he doesn't turn out. Now he turned out, and I missed a big opportunity on that. But if you're always buying, you're not going to come out ahead. I think you have to be a little bit more discerning. Okay, are we good, Adam?
Yeah, we're good. We definitely have some latency.
I'm going to assume
we have some latency issues, Jeremy, but you just keep going, and I'll try to not jump in on you as much as I sometimes do. So put my hand up when I want to say something. Hopefully that helps us.
Sounds good. Cracked Card Co. says, I'm throwing down on important game tickets. Thoughts on game tickets or ticket collecting in general? That's a whole it's a whole other topic right now. And listen, I'm going to keep it really short because I want to focus more on the cards in this auction tonight. I don't know that there is a set of Tiger Woods tickets, I believe, in this auction. Yeah, I mean, I think tickets can be very cool. I don't think they look as nice as cards do, but I think they can be very cool. It just depends on which ones, and of course, but that market seems to be growing. There's more attention on it. Thank you, Matthew Jones. Appreciate that. Today is the 2-year anniversary of Sports Cards Live. Thank you so much. Bandit Tanks calls out a hockey player named Alexander Daig, who was the hottest thing going, and he fizzled into pretty much nothing pretty quickly. So, yeah, I hear you on that, Tanks. Definitely. Triple V's risk tolerance doesn't jive with a 100K card of an unproven commodity. This Cy Young makes sense to me. Yeah, definitely. Collect, invest, repeat says, where is Erk Myers? Yeah, he's going to be joining us shortly. Thank you, Triple V. All right. Oh, there we go. That's how I even knew. That's how I knew. Because PSA Canada Brad mentioned to me today that and you say you are still in play on the Tiger ticket. So there we go. The first person to let us know that they're bidding in an item in the auction tonight. That's brave, Brad. Thank you for mentioning it, and good luck to you. I think that's super, super cool. And Simon makes the correct assessment. If that will come up on the screen, I'm clicking, but You'll see when and if it does, there it is. Jeremy's hotel internet is a PSA2. Well said, Simon. All right, Adam, let's scroll down and let's look at some more items in the auction, okay? Let's have a look at what's going on here. I think last place we were, first of all, an amazing Connor McDavid exquisite tribute out of 5, $60,000. I love the card. I'd love to own it, pair it with my Gretzky. Gretzky. Now I lost Adam. I don't know if you all can hear me right now, but I'm just going to keep on talking. Speaking of tickets, there's a ticket, and we're going to scroll to the next page. And if nothing else, we got to get to the we got that 80. All right. So let's see if this page will load. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take it out. Are we there? Are we live? My internet is a PSA2. That was a very astute comment. Adam?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. So I am not. Let's see if Adam is trying to talk to me. Anybody there? Okay. Thank you, Hotel Internet. Thank you, Hotel Internet. We are live. Brendan Ryan tells me we are live. Are we still live? We're losing him. We're losing him. We are live. Okay, well, listen, I hope we are, and we are now looking at page 3 of the auction where the McDavid has fallen to, meaning a few cards have passed it. And I am not getting images here on the auction, so my internet is definitely Jenny Miller. You're right. I shouldn't have made that comment. Breaking up a lot. Thank you, Brendan Ryan. Ask for an Ethernet cable, All Valley. Good question. Is there an Ethernet outlet in this place, though? That's the question. I don't know that there's. Oh, there is an Ethernet outlet there. Oh.
Whoever made that comment just saved the show. The irony here is that.
Oh my goodness.
The irony here is that everybody can probably hear me.
Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight.
I'm going to go back to the comments while Jeremy is looking up the while Jeremy's trying to get his Ethernet plugged in.
Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight.
Can you hear me, Jeremy?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You got
Jenny,
me?
I don't think Jeremy can hear me, so it's kind of hard for me to just talk over him. But it's good to see you guys. Let's see. Jenny says, I see and hear Adam.
Hold on, Adam.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. Can anybody hear me right now?
I
can hear both of you, says Matthew Jones. So we're on. We're on? Okay. I think this is going to be a lot better now because this is going to sound bad, guys. So please don't think any less of me, to use Adam's words, but I just looked under the table and saw an Ethernet cable hanging there, and I just plugged it into my computer, and I am now off the Wi-Fi. So we should be good to go, Adam. We should be good to go now. Okay.
The funny thing about that, Jeremy, is I wanted to keep jumping in and just sort of taking the show here for a second, but you were like sort of part way in half the time and then not. And I just felt like I was talking over you. So I basically just been looking at you sort of like spinning here for the last couple of minutes. But we're still here. Jenny Miller's still here. Matthew Jones is still here. So we're good. Let's do it.
All right. And now I am actually hardwired in. So, all right, here we go. Let's go. This feels better now that I don't think we need to worry about that anymore. All right. So let's just get back to it. Tiger Woods, Adam. Tiger Woods, obviously he's back and golfing again. So nice to see his card just, kind of, it's almost like not gonna die yet. Not die. That's a bad word. It's nice to see more support for the card and more support for, more fan support because he's playing. Listen, the guy is basically a GOAT, always has been for a very long time. And it's nice. It's just nice to see him playing again. I think that's one of the things that's just good for the hobby. I'm not at the Best Western, Brad. I am at the Clarion. I hope no one from the Clarion's watching. It's a bit of a dump, but it's nice and close to the show. Literally a 3-minute walk from the card show. There we go. We can see the cards now. Okay, back in business. Let's just scroll through it. I want to find this 1980 Gretzky card that we were asked about before, and have a good look at that one. So let's see. Did we skip page? We skipped to the next page. Adam, anything here? A couple of Trey Youngs right beside each other there. Got the Magic the Gathering. We got the Black Lotus. There's a Kevin Durant exquisite RPA. This is a one color patch here, which some people like. Some people don't. Obviously people want more colors. What are your thoughts on this particular card, BGS 9 with the one color patch? Is this something that you think is a good holding?
So it says patch reviewed by Beckett, and in the past, when PWCC has used that caption, it's been kind of a call to make sure you read the description. I love Kevin Durant. He'll go down as one of the greatest scorers of all time. He's got a few championships, and he's going to try to win a few more. And this is the hobby has spoken. This is his rarest RPA. So I would be more concerned if the patch. I'm wondering why it says patch reviewed by Beckett. So anybody bidding should read that. Should read the description there. But I would feel more comfortable with a one color patch because of all of the cards that I'm aware of in basketball card history, this is probably the one that's most plagued by patch switching. Wax Museum podcast, Kyle has done a really good job of tracking these and getting images of all of them. There are a lot that have patches switched on them. So seeing one that is one color makes you feel really good. You wish Upper Deck would have used better patches, but I personally, notwithstanding again that comment right there, I personally would rather have something that I know is real than something where I sort of have to look a little bit side-eyed at it and wonder. And so if you want his best rookie and his rarest rookie, there it is.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, and it's almost too bad that when there's a patch card out there that is really nice, that some people automatically assume it's fake. I saw that happen at the card show today. A beautiful emblems of endorsement of Eddie Belfour from Upper Decks the Cup that had crazy feather patches, and someone said, "Oh, there's talk that this card is that the patch is fake." And I know from when that product came out that the patches that were coming out of the packs were phenomenal. And I said. I don't think it's fake. I think it's legit. I've seen cards with that caliber of patch come out of packs. So, it's unfortunate that that's where the hobby has gone on a lot of that stuff. And I really think it comes down on the card companies for not documenting what they put out at the beginning of time and not providing that service to help really, verify what they created. Beavis says, did Upper Deck not catalog all the patches? Correct. They did not catalog all the patches. Okay, Let's keep rolling down though. Have a look at some more. Oh, one more thing about this card though that I love, and a bit of a personal card I picked up a couple weeks ago. I did pick up a Connor McDavid Tribute Exquisite, which is the KD design. And when I saw it and bought it, I was like, that's the KD design. You know, that added some value to me because I know it's an important card in basketball, and it's just a cool looking card overall. Giannis, Trout, Mahomes, Steph Curry. Regular appearances on the Premier, as always. This card we've seen several times. Luka, another Acuna, and there's the grayback Roberto Clemente. The graybacks are super rare compared to the whitebacks as far as 656 tops goes. Very, very nice. There's another Tiger, MJ Auto, very nice, nice SP Authentic Auto, and a BGS Black Label 1010. Still a pop 1 of 4. You don't see black labels with pop 4s all that often. There's a Joe Burrow, a Lionel Messi. And we're going to go to the 4th page. And Erk Myers just showed up in the green room. Erk, we'll bring you out in just a moment. Bear with us. All right. Let's bring him out. What do you say? Erk, are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. Erk is ready. There's the thumbs up. Adam, let's bring him on. There he is. Erk, how are you?
Doing good. Just enjoying the show.
Despite the technical issues, despite me live streaming from my hotel room on Wi-Fi for the first hour when I didn't even realize there was an Ethernet cable dangling under the desk here. Welcome back to the show, Erk. Based on what you've seen, the show, the episode we've had tonight so far, minus the technical difficulties, what has caught your eye tonight, or what discussion that Adam and I in the chat have had so far that maybe you had some comments on?
Well, I mean, the ones that have caught my eye, y'all pointed them out as well. The cards I was watching going into it, there's a few things. Number one, Bird Magic rookie. It's at 840. I would have been floored had it fell under 780. I thought 780, 775 is basically the absolute floor on it. In fact, it's at 840. Totally, that's within the spectrum of where I had figured it to go in. The one that stands out to me the most is the Vlad Guerrero Red. Now, I'm a huge Guerrero supporter. I think that card being his second best card outside of the Superfractor, it's a pop 1 BGS 1010 auto. The Superfractor could easily go between 900,000 to 1.3, maybe 1.4 million. So if you're a Vlad believer and you got deep pockets, that's one. I mean, that's it. It's Superfractor or that. And it's a stunning card. Currently a little over $500,000 out the door. That's a huge one. Let me see. There was a SGC Gem at 10 Jordan, which I thought was initially was going a little low. It was setting kind of stagnant around the 100K mark, and the 86 Fleer box. That box traditionally sells at 165 to 190, right? And it's currently at 144. So those are the ones that initially y'all that have come up.
Good stuff. Okay, let's go back to the KD RPA, the exquisite, the Kevin Durant one color RPA, Adam, that said that the patch was reviewed by Beckett. I've been informed that what's gone on with that card. I think it's important people know the history of the card if the information is out there. And I do believe that we've got some good information here, that the card was, and actually I think I can even go as far as just kind of showing it on my phone here. It looks like I just received this picture. I'm just gonna do that. So I don't know if you guys can see that here. Yeah. I'll do this quickly because this is important if anyone's looking to bid on it. And I think it is, where's my mouse? Let's just find that here quickly. Okay, I'm just gonna do that for a moment here. So that's what I'm talking about. So apparently this card was originally one color. Somebody tried to improve it to a multicolor, and then it went back to a one color. So now, assuming that this analysis is correct, that's, I guess, what it means, Adam, that Beckett, the patch was reviewed by Beckett. So
So
interesting
kudos,
and definitely
kudos,
something worth sharing.
sorry, kudos to PWCC for highlighting that on the outside of the auction to sort of let people know you need to look into it, because I think most people would see that it was a one color and just say, oh, that's great. That's just what it is. Because nobody's going to alter a card to make it one color. That's, again, one of the things I really like about a one color patch is you generally know that it hasn't been altered. This one is one that I'm aware of as well. I didn't realize it was this copy that's up, but yeah, the old switch to a fake patch and then switch it back. It's probably the same material as it originally was. So how do you view that? I don't know. Everybody's going to have a different opinion on that. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I mean, I'm not a fan. First of all, patch swapping is a problem in the hobby. It's fraud. I believe it's fraudulent. It's not something that's good. Obviously, it's bad. that goes without saying. It's bad. And I've tried to find ways to help the community with it for years. I had a website in like 2009 called Fake Patch Report, and tried to have a database for fake patches that were proven. I had to give it up. I just got too busy. I was getting too many submissions to the website for fake patches, and I just didn't have the time or the manpower for it. So unfortunately for that, in 2009, I went to Upper Deck's facility when they did the pack out of the cup, and I documented all the patch cards for that one release. It was a great experience. I think, I've been an advocate for stopping patch faking for a long time. I've been an advocate for the card companies to document their patches for a long time. And now we're seeing, what year is the KD? 07, is it?
07.
Here we are 15 years later, and we're having issues with fake patches. This is exactly why I was calling on it 15 years ago to find a way to stop it, because the long-term value of these cards can be impacted by that epidemic. And here we are, again, 15 years later, seeing it rear its ugly head. Now, listen, at the end of the day, it's a card. If it's got that same patch material, wonderful. I don't understand how it gets in a slab. Except I shouldn't say that. I do understand how it gets in a slab. I don't know what a grading company can do to detect patch faking other than having a archive or a database of these original patches. And I do think that responsibility lies on the card companies to do that, and they didn't, and maybe it's just too late. So I don't know, like those are my thoughts. I don't want we're trying to, this is 1 out of 324 lots on this auction. I don't want to really like ruin the or focus negative energy on the overall auction via this episode, but that's a problem in our hobby. And I think that everybody in the hobby needs to rally to find a way to stop it. And I think it has to start with the card companies. Maybe Fanatics will lead that charge at some point in time. So yeah, Vintage Card Collector says, I'd view the Durant as altered. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's just logic. That if the evidence that we saw is correct, if it's factual, then yeah, it's an altered card, and Beckett didn't detect it or know about it. And it's hard to blame them, because how could they, right? These people who do it are so good that it's just undetectable unless you have an original photo. So sorry for the rant, but I'm pretty I feel pretty strongly about fake patches. Erk, any comments on the topic?
No, it's just a long-standing issue until, really, as you alluded to earlier, until the manufacturing franchises or companies start scanning items, or a company comes out and maybe there's people that bust wax, whatever. If they start, that's where you could probably do something to where you scan the items, have NFTs applicable to it as it comes out of the pack, right? I think as technology comes forward, if manufacturers don't do it, I think the industry will at some point start to address it. It's something that has to be addressed, period, bar none. I mean, it has to be handled. I agree.
And it has to start with the card companies, 100%. I'm never going to stop, never going to let that one die. it just has to. Beavis says Durant's patches changing like he does teams. That's pretty funny. Pretty funny.
So I'm looking at. Let me look up here. There's a couple cards I want to jump on. So I just got on y'all, joined y'all late. That I thought were. Let me see real quick. What are your thoughts on John Morant?
Sorry, while you're doing, I just want to bring up Beavis card. Says that the Durant patch card does tell a story of the hobby, though, which is very true, and it's a reminder. It's a reminder for people. So very good. Okay, sorry, Eric, you were talking about some was it Ja Morant cards?
Yeah, so we got a BGS 9.5 that's at 288 out the door. I believe it's 240 before BP. BGS 9.5 Ja Morant. This one I've seen 4. There's a pop 6. I've seen 5 of them, I believe. This one, without question, has the best patch of all the other ones I've seen that I'm aware of. But now, my personal opinion, I think it's worth 320, 340. That's just me, though. It's my own personal opinion. But I see that there's a good gap between. We've also got a BGS 9, right? So between a BGS 9.5 and a 9, where a 9's like 95 or 100K, and the 9.5 is almost 300,000. If Ja Morant keeps playing well, if the Grizzlies can pull it off, I think a 9 would be a good investment, being as how the 9.5s are already bumping up against 300 grand. And once the 9, there's only 6. Once they change hands, they're done. They're going to be stagnant and go and tucked away in PCs for several years. So I think if you can, people looking for arbitrage, I think the 9s have a good chance to grow. If you're a Ja Morant believer, because I don't know about y'all, but I watched the playoffs today. Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards. I mean, there's some people. The young guns are studding up. They're really performing well. For even, for Philadelphia, Maxey did great. I mean, there's people out there that are just balling out, and I'm glad though. I'm glad that there's new energy coming into the league.
Yeah, I went against my rule. Even the discussion we had a bit earlier about timing, Adam, and I bought a Ja Morant card at the end of February at Burbank Sports Cards. Yeah, I bought a Ja card, totally against all the I don't want to say it's advice I give, but the comments I make about how to approach a hobby, But hey, I was in LA. I was at Burbank Cards. Actually, Rob had the card in his hand. It was just about to go into the showcase, so I was the first one to see it, and that's the card I pulled the trigger on. Anything on Ja Morant, Adam?
Ja is one of the most interesting players I've seen in a long time. His combination of athleticism and competitiveness is incredible. I mean, you guys were both here on the show with me a couple months ago when I went crazy and went and spontaneously spent 25 grand on a PWCC Premier Auction buying a Ja Morant card. So but then again, to Eric's point, the parity in the West in the NBA is so great. It wasn't shocking to see Minnesota beat them today. And if Ja goes and loses in the first round, that's not great. So that's the part of this. It's high risk, high reward. It's not fit for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it's not. The cool thing is what I love to see, and Ja loses, Anthony Edwards becomes a winner. So you have these two young guns, right, that have both high energy, both amazing to watch. I think that's good and I'm a big Cat believer. I love Karl Anthony Towns. I think his stuff's way undervalued. But, I love watching these younger teams battle each other out because I can root for either one. I'm not really biased. I just want to see good basketball being played.
I put it up there, but I do like the comment that Jameson says every once in a while you need to have fun and forget about the consequences and just buy the card, right? I like that.
What are y'all's thoughts on that Mike Trout orange? Because we had a PSA 1010, I believe it was a gold. Now I think it was a pop 2. I could be wrong. I believe it was a pop 2 that went for over 500 grand recently, right, on auction and Premier. What do you think? The orange is numbered at 25, and it's a true gem. And it's set at 228 out the door, 190 before BP. That just seems like a steal, for my opinion, for me personally.
Compared to prices we've seen, it does seem low compared to some prices that we've seen for his cards. But I'm not really, knowledgeable enough on all the different parallels to know where that should rank, and nor do I know all the historical sales to really have a good opinion on that, Eric. But I think we can go with your thoughts. maybe there's value there right now versus what we've seen in historical comps. Hits and Chicks says so many sick cards in this auction. Yes, there are. Juval says Jaw is an atrocious defensive player to the point it takes away from his offensive brilliance. But Erk, I want your comments on T. Jones's comment here. Please tell me why the SGC 10 Jordan and the PSA 10 are 120K apart. Now, we do talk about this often on the show, you know, the discrepancy between grading companies and their PSA, and their gem mint grades, or their 10 grades, I should say. But Erk, why don't you just sort of opine on the variance between the SGC, this particular SGC 10 MJ and the PSA 10?
So the PSA 10 is at 240 out the door. It's 200 before BP. And let me see what the price is on the SGC real quick. I'm not seeing it.
While you're checking, I was scrolling through these cards earlier, everybody, and like, I just want to call note to a couple of them. Erk, you find that, but we have a Mickey Mantle PSA 4. I saw a really nice PSA 5 at the show today. He had a price tag on, I think it was 60,000 Canadian on a PSA 5. This is a very nice PSA 4 from this angle, at least. Also wanted to call attention to the Jackie Robinson PSA 6. The centering on this card, you know, I have the same card in a PSA 6, and my centering is just as bad as this one is, left to right, but top to bottom, my centering is really good. So this card, you know, it got the unfortunate end of centering from both measures, and I don't know, like, what I'm getting at here is, if you look at the borders, the top border and the right border are the same. The left border and the bottom border are the same. It actually provides a little bit of some symmetry, or it does. It provides adjacent symmetry to a degree. Erk, your thoughts on this card? Like, you know, it's not often that you see centering like this, where the card is so down into the left corner. But any sort of comments on this card, and, you know, how it would, because like a well-centered PSA 5 should outsell this poorly centered PSA 6. But Erk, your thoughts on, you know, the Jackie rookie. What do you think of this particular copy?
I'm real familiar with the 48 leaf set. It's one of my wheelhouses, right? I love that specific set in vintage baseball. That one has really good registry, though. It's got, compared to a lot of other cards in regards to registry. I know some people look at it and think it's subpar, but compared to other cards, 48 leaf is notorious for having horrific registry or over color saturation. I kind of look for, I'm okay to concede a little bit on registry if it's got better centering for me, because it's so rare to have good centering on the 48 leaf. But everybody's different. So some people don't really care about the centering, since it's so hard to find one. You could literally spend 3 or 4 or 5 years waiting to find one with good centering. Then when you find it, it's got bad registry. So at some point in your collecting career, you have to decide, with this set in particular, am I a registry person? Like, what's the color? What's the, you know, the cyan, magenta, and how they line up, right, in the yellow? Or are you going to be more of a centering individual? Me, I'm more of a centering, and I'll be okay with 65% acceptable, 70% acceptable registry. But some people just really love the registry, because when the cards are registered good and they're clean, man, they're amazing. I mean, that's an amazing set, in my opinion. You know. But back to the preceding question. So the PSA 10 Jordan is at 240. I looked at SGC Gem Mint 10 is at 96K. So it looks like a $140,000 discrepancy. However, that being said, historically speaking, SGC 10s sell between 198 down to 156. If I was somebody bidding and looking for arbitrage, right? You're looking for potential good investments that you're not paying at comps or above comps. That's one that stands out. You know, I mean, last comp was 156. It's currently set in sub 100. I mean, it's, and it's a Pop 27 card, I believe. Let me check that. I think that's a Pop 27 card. It doesn't say, but, and that's, I think there's, so I got in a discussion with gentleman who owns Bleakers, Zablo, today, and we were talking about the Jordan rookies. And I said, man, I think it's a Pop 27, the Gem Mint, the 9.5s from SGC. It's a Mint Plus. Those are like a Pop 22 or something. Oh, no, the Gem Mint is Pop 22. The 9.5 is Pop 27. Very low pop counts. If you're looking for a good place to park some money the next 3 to 5 years, SGC has a lot of room to grow. And it'll follow the PSA as the PSA goes up the ladder.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's similar to what Hits and Chick said earlier. Give me the PSA 10 for more. When the market changes, the PSA will see bigger bumps. So that's kind of along with what you were just saying. Hits and Chicks on fire, as always, says, I kind of want to rub Jeremy's bald head right now. Thanks, Hits and Chicks, but no. Says the Jackie is nice. Centering isn't everything with vintage. And I mean, Erk, you said you're more of a centering guy than registration. I'm more of a registration guy. So I would still take the off-centered with the better registration, because I don't want to see a blurry Jackie. I want to see a nice, crisp, strong-looking Jackie. Hits and Chicks. Big night. Let's see some bidding wars going past midnight. And Joe Perot joins us. Oh, look, it's the A team. Welcome, Joe, and congratulations to you for missing the technical difficulties we were having from my hotel room when I didn't realize there was an Ethernet cable dangling under this desk, and I have now since plugged it in. All right, I love this Lou Gehrig, by the way, everybody. I absolutely love this card. I never owned one. I would love to own one, and hopefully I will one day. Look at just a wonderful, wonderful card. Let's go to the next page, Erk and Adam. Let's see what's on page 6. While that's loading, Hits and Chicks says that SGC 10 is so nice, but I can't spend that big money on such a risky grading company that collectors don't put number 1. Not a risky grading company, but SGC isn't highly regarded by whale collectors for modern. All right. I'm just going to leave that at that. And let's keep on running through these cards here in the auction. There's a nice numbers pieces. MJ, another SP Authentic Tiger Woods autograph rookie. It's a beautiful card. We got a LeBron rookie. We got the Opulence Luka. I still am keeping my eyes open for the 80 Gretzky card, PSA 10. Adam, what do you think of this Kaboom here? The Kobe Bryant 2018 Kaboom. I mean, let me ask you this, Adam. Let me rephrase this. And Erk, I'd like your opinion on this too. Kaboom, the hobby runs in cycles. We all know this. I'm not hearing much about Kabooms anymore, like I was up to, I don't know, feel like 60 days ago. I'm not hearing much about them. What's going on with Kabooms in the market right now? Adam, start with you.
That's a good point. I think you're right. But I also think if you were to sort of ask people about Panini inserts, inserts during the Panini era for basketball, at least, I think Kaboom's one of the first ones that comes out of people's mouths. So, I don't own any Kaboom cards, but I know some people who love them more than just about, anything modern. This Kobe in particular is interesting in that it's not a playing days card, right? This is post career ending. This is 2018, and he retired after the 2015-16 season. And so, I'm a pretty big Kobe collector, and I'm a Kobe Gold collector. This isn't a card that I'm seeking after, though, because it's not a playing day card. But I believe they only did 1 year of the Gold Kabooms. It's a beautiful card. It's one of those that if you could do the 360 right now, I'd say look in that in the 360. It is cool. And, something about that Laker Gold and the Gold card together, I think it's great looking. But what's it going to do in the future? Man, I have no idea. But I would just say this. Panini era is going to come to an end. We know about Prism Golds, and we know about, different RPAs that are it's really highly sought after. When I ask you, what are the inserts from the era that people are going to remember? There's just not that come a lot before the Kaboom cards.
I think that's that last comment you made is really good. What inserts are people going to remember down the road? What's that whole what's the next PMG thing? Erk, can you share your thoughts on what's going on with Kabooms right now?
Yeah, so Kabooms have cooled off a little bit across the board. However, Adam made a great point. It's the only year for the Gold Kobe Kaboom, right? There's only 10. So if someone's chasing a good insert that presents itself optically very, very well, that doesn't leave you with many options. It's something that I kind of like the Ultra Stars Gold. You're talking about 90s inserts, right? So if you're looking for something that gives you that beautiful, that eye-catching appeal, right, and it presents itself even through a slab, it presents itself much better than Prism, in my opinion. Like it optically is very beautiful. So I understand, and they only did the 1 year for the Kobe as opposed to Prism Golds. It's year after year after year, but they're still extremely valuable. Don't get me wrong. So I can see people who are diehard Kobe collectors who are looking for a rare Kobe insert. Again, it is after playing days. But you only have 1 year option. I was skeptical about them at first, but I see that they're there. I mean, you only got 10. And if you're looking for rare Kobe cards, and if you're not an ink chaser like myself, right? If you like the Kobe inserts, that's one of them. You know, I'm more of an ink chaser, but teaches them.
Okay, no, fair enough, and I appreciate all the comments, fellas. I think it's interesting stuff. Okay, I'm going to run through a couple more comments here, and then we're going to look at the Gretzky card. Tyler says, when I buy vintage card, I don't look for only one thing to be perfect. I'd rather have pretty good registration, pretty good centering, and just have an overall appearance that speaks to me. Yeah, like that's a great approach, Tyler, especially that last part, an overall appearance that speaks to me. That right there is, I think you nail it right there. Michael Ham, great to see you. I know. I'm not spending. I don't think Adam's spending anything tonight. I know Eric isn't, so not quite sure. But I hope someone else out there is bidding on some cards. I know. At least Brad from PSA Canada is bidding on the Tiger Woods ticket collection. And T-Dot says that PMGs are the new kabooms. I love those deliberately backward statements. Good stuff. Good stuff. And okay, with that, let's take a look at the Gretzky card, which I brought up before. So this is the card that we were talking about. It's in a PSA 10 holder, and I feel like some of the people in the chat have a reason for asking me to take a look at it. I'm just sort of, speculating on that. So if we're looking to really analyze the condition of the card, it looks nice. It looks nice. Overall, first impressions, it's nice. It's definitely off-centered left to right. That's clear as day. It's not horribly off-centered, but it's definitely off-centered left to right at the top of the card. Thinner there than it is there, right? That's easy to see. As you move down towards the bottom of the card, it's more balanced out. So that can mean one of two things, in my opinion. One being that there's slight tilt on the card, or that there's been, someone's taken an X-Acto knife to it or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's where my mind goes when I look at a card that has, thinner border here than over here. But as you scroll down, we're kind of pretty even on each side. Like this, the width here between the border and the green over here, very, unless I'm not seeing it properly, looks to be maybe just slightly wider here, but less so than you see up at the top. Maybe it's tilt. Top to bottom looks actually really good. But I'm wondering if there's anything else that people wanted me to comment on or to look at. I'm just going to go to my bigger screen here. The registration looks good. Don't you really think registration is an issue with these 80 O-Pee-Chees anyway? A minor bit of black missing there. That's super minor, wouldn't bother me. So overall, pretty nice looking card. But yeah, that side to side centering. Someone made the comment here. I saw 60-40 right here. Jubal says that's fringe 60-40 on the Gretzky. Yeah, I'd agree with that assessment. So it's also, you can see it's a very old slab. It's a very old PSA slab, which, or I should say an early submission to PSA, also in an older slab. So, but in general, it's a low pop card. And, if you're someone who's bidding on this card and you have no concerns over its authenticity and its, lack of alteration, then, you might be able to get it at a better price because the centering is weak for a PSA 10. Eric, not sure if you're kind of watching what we're talking about here right now, but any comments on this Gretzky card and based on what I've said?
It kind of looks like it potentially could have a diamond tilt to it. It's like those older cards, it's hard to know how they were cut from the sheet, So it's really, I see some Hendersons like that as well. Now, the 1980 Ricky Henderson rookie card was prone to more chipping on the edges, so that was one telltale sign. That one, it looks a little off, but I don't know if that's the tilt in the centering or whatnot. I mean, it's a high grade. That being said, that the centering is off a little bit, but it's within PSA's tolerances. So I mean, their tolerances they're not 55-45, it's 60-40 for PSA 10, right? So I mean, it just kind of is what it is on that end.
Yeah, I think there, as T-Dot says, the tolerance is 55-45 on the front of the card for a PSA 10. And
60-40.
Is it on the front? I think that's the back.
Might want to check. I could
Yeah,
be wrong.
no, we should check. We should check that. Rather make sure we're right than just both of us sort of speculating. But that's my understanding, at least what I have in my head. So we are, by the way, in the 1 minute extended bidding windows here, guys. So, but it seems like there's still lots of action, and the clock keeps on resetting. Let's go over here for a moment and scroll to the top and see how fast some bids are coming in. Well, there's one. Oh, there's Adam's favorite Jackie Robinson, the Bond Bread card. Sorry, Adam, I just kind of made that your favorite card. So the bids are coming in right now. You can see this thing's seems to be getting a bid every couple of seconds at the moment. Thanks, Matt Pime. Good analysis on the Gretzky. Justin Vick, when Jeremy's squinting at a card, you know you're going to get some good analysis. Thanks, Justin Vick. 60-40 front, says Skeppy. 60-40 front, says Hits and Chick. So there you go. I was wrong. Eric was right, as is the chat for verifying. So thanks for that. So that brings up an interesting discussion in and of itself, doesn't it? Right? I mean,
it is what it is, soldier. It is what it is. I mean,
and in this case, though, Eric, it is what it is actually exactly right, and there's nothing wrong with that. If those are the standards and they're documented for everybody to see, then it is what it is. I mean, you don't like it, don't buy cards in those slabs. It's as simple as that, right? Like, if you don't like what the standard is for PSA 10, don't buy PSA cards. Simple as that, or PSA 10 cards of vintage. Usually you don't see that so bad with modern day cards. But I saw a card at the card show yesterday. It was a BGS 9.5 with, I don't remember the card, but it was oh yes, I do. I'll tell you. It was a BGS 9.5 with 10 centering. And the card was not perfectly centered. With the naked eye, it was obviously off-centered. It was a 1990, whatever his rookie year is, 98 or 99, Martin St. Louis rookie card from Upper Deck Hockey. And it was clearly not. It's a card where the centering is easily assessed. And Beckett gave it a 10 on centering. And it's now, is a Beckett 10 supposed to be perfect centering? I think that's my understanding. Am I wrong? Maybe I was wrong before. Maybe I'm wrong again. I don't know. And I'll ask the question to you guys. What's your understanding, Adam and Eric? Is a Beckett 10 on centering intended to mean that the card has perfect centering? Do we know the answer to that?
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be 50-50. Well, on the front, not the back. So let's preface that, right? So for BGS 10, for the centering to be a 10 on the subgrade, it needs to be 50-50 on the front, I believe. I don't know. I'd be misspeaking. I don't know what their qualifications are on the back, because most BGS 10 cards you see that have 10 subgrades for centering, the back is usually 60-40. So they give variations on the back for sure for BGS 10 subgrade.
You guys both know this, but there's a lot of cards that can have perfect centering on the front because of the way that the sheets were created. If it has perfect centering on the front, it will never actually have perfect centering.
That's true. Yeah.
I know of a specific Wilt Chamberlain card, 1973 tops. If you get it right in the middle, just perfect 50-50, then your back's going to be 90-10, and that's just the way they all are. And so hopefully, you kind of hope that PSA has a little bit of leniency on that, but at the same time, you kind of want all cards to have sort of standard grade. So for me, front really matters, back matters a little less. So I hope that's how they assess the grades.
Same with Joe Montana. If the front's dead on centering, the back's going to look rough. It's going to be off big time. Joe Montana rookie, same way. Once you get to know the cards, you just have to accept it, because Adam's absolutely right. There's certain cards, the way they lined up on the printing, if the front's spot on, the back is way off. So, and I would rather the back be off and the front be spot on. It just is what it is.
Yeah, that goes without saying pretty much. Prefer the front to be spot on. If there's going to be an issue, have it on the back. I'm going to run through some comments, guys. Just also on the ticker, if you are not yet and you want to subscribe to Basketball Card Fanatic, of which Adam is the editor-in-chief, bcfmag.com. Francesco says Wayne Gretzky is a name that will live forever. He's one of the safest investments you can make, an established GOAT. Yeah, here. I can definitely support that claim. Juval says, wow, I've made it, dude. I knew the PSA standards off the top of my head better than these three guys. Life goal accomplished, Juval. Maybe you can replace one of my co-hosts or even replace me on a future episode. But congratulations to you. Sports Card Stallion says PSA 10 plus coming soon, 50-50 only. Nat Turner has said that will not happen, but I know you're all in jest there, Nick. But good comment, definitely. Juval says it's worse than 60-40. It was a mistake to grade that card to 10. All companies make mistakes. It's okay to hate on the grade, but still respect PSA, the company. Yeah, very nice comment right there. Juval, Francesco, modern day players, you're just rolling the dice, man. Most of them, several of them, yeah, I would agree with that. PSA 10 plus the NBA sticker and then a Beckett Raw card review. It's like the Turducken of sports cards. Skeppy says they changed it to 60-40 because the 1979 Ozzie Smith would never gem without it. Interesting insight right there. Eric, are you familiar with this comment here?
I don't know about that, man. I've been in this industry for 16 years, going on right at 16 years, and it's always been 60-40. So had it changed before then? Maybe, but to the best of my remembrance, it's always been 60-40 for the 16 years I've been in it. I think to figure that, I don't see PSA, man, they're not about changing their standards like that. Because I like the Gem Mint, the 10 plus. They're not, I don't see them doing that. I could be wrong though, I could be misspeaking. But as long as I know for the 16 years I've been in it, it's pretty much been 60-40.
Yeah, I would agree. I would think the same, but hey, perhaps it happened. I like these kinds of comments. Teed up. Personally, corners matter most to me. Yeah, that's a good poll question. Is what matters most to you as far as the four commonly referred to subgrades? Interesting to know. I think centering is the most popular, probably followed by corners. I'm a registration guy. That's just my thing, followed by centering. Corners is probably last for me. I like rounded corners on a vintage card.
That Ricky Henderson is at 144 out the door. That's a good card. That's a rare card. I think that's just such an undervalued card right now. It's such an iconic card. Hard to get. Pop 25. Looking at that one. I think that's up there. It had fallen down to about 90,000 at some point past year.
I got to bring up this comment here from Juval. Can you imagine paying $250K for an Anthony Edwards card? Crazy times. I mean, if there wasn't, I think, close to $500,000 recently spent on a Jason Dominguez card, then this would be crazier than it already is. So yeah, it is. It's a lot of speculation, right? I think that if you look at people who are like high-end gamblers or high-limit gamblers, this is a way to gamble on something, but sort of still have something at the end. Once the game it's not a game, you're gambling on a whole career. So yeah, but yeah, I'm with you. No. My simple answer is no to that question. If you take it in its literal form. Adam, sorry, you were going to jump in.
Yeah, I was just going to say, every time we've done this, Jeremy, we've gotten to this point where it starts to feel like the group of people who waits to jump in on the cards that they've put in an early bid, and now they're coming in later to say, okay, I'm here. I'm really going to try to win this now. It feels like that sort of happened over the last couple of minutes. I'm sure not with everybody, but I'm sure I wasn't the only one who noticed. We had a real flurry of bids there for a couple of minutes. Now we're down to almost 10 seconds here on the time remaining. So, maybe we're about done, but I don't know if that's true.
Hold on. No.
There we go. It was. One card that jumps out at me is, so I like the moves the Chargers have made in the offseason for football, NFL. The fact that they're stacking up the defense, which was lacking. There's a Justin Herbert premium patches, National Treasure. So it's Stars and Stripes, number 3. That card I love that patch. because it's got the little baby shield in it. I think it's at 132 out the door. It's like 110 before buyer premium. It's just I like the stars and stripes. I do. Right. Me personally, some people say it's not the true RPA. I love the way the stars and stripes presents itself. That Justin Herbert one, I think a similar one sold recently for almost 200 or so. One of the other of the three. So again, for looking for arbitrage, that's one that I feel is undervalued. But man, I love what the moves they've made in the offseason. Plus, their conference, their division isn't as difficult as Burrow's, right? So I think they have a better chance to win their division.
It's kind of a fun idea, Jeremy. Just throwing it out here. It's kind of a fun idea to sort of say, what card at this stage in the auction do you find is like a really cool buy? Like this thing is maybe selling for less than you think it should. Kind of like Erk just did. I was just flipping through and I saw, I didn't even notice it the first time. And I know I've looked through them before, but there's a LeBron limited logos that's up that I looked at and I went, ooh, that's a sharp card. I think it's only passed our ticker once. But to me, that's the card that I'm looking at right now going, that's cool. I didn't put a bid on it, so I can't bid on it now. And I don't know who the seller is, but it's a cool card. And LeBron's an interesting opportunity right now because, and Erk, I know you're the same way. We've talked about this before. Like you often turn your head away when something's hot. You look for things that people are not properly assessing right now. And so LeBron, yes, because of the last couple of months, there's a lot of people who have just sort of said, well, I'm not going to look at LeBron cards anymore. Well, that's exactly the time to buy, right? Like that's exactly the time to buy. And even though I'm not a LeBron collector, like I saw that card and I just sort of went, that's interesting. And it's because people aren't looking at LeBron right now.
Great take, Adam. Great take. So like right now, let's be honest, whether you like LeBron or don't like LeBron, he's going to get the points record next year, probably between game 40 and 60. It is what it is. So now's the time to be buying football. Now's the time, since LeBron obviously didn't make it. If you like LeBron, or if you think there's potential for arbitrage to be made in the next year or two, now is the time. Within the first 30 days after a player gets eliminated from the playoffs, that's when the market pulls back. And if you believe in the player long run, that's when you buy. Like now's the time to be buying football. Everybody's jumping on prospects in baseball. I totally understand it because some of these players are starting off really, really hot, right? I get it. But the best time to have been buying baseball was during the lockout, right? When they didn't know when the season was going to be played. That's when you start throwing out the money out there and just, they were going to it's not like they were going to permanently stop playing baseball, right? Yeah. It was going to come back in. So knowing when and where to put your money, because if you're going to be here for 10, 20 years, you got to get that methodology done. You can't just be shooting off the hip for decades. That's not going to work out well.
It's just so simple to think about it like this, but seriously, it's very basically understanding that there's this laws of supply and demand thing. And sometimes when things are really in demand, that's not the time to buy. In fact, usually it's not the time to buy when something's super in demand. Wait for that cool spell where some of the big buyers check out for a sec, and that's the moment that you want to capitalize on, whether it's a lockout or an off season or somebody who's just been eliminated from the playoffs. But I have a few big LeBron cards. I wouldn't consider myself a LeBron collector, but I absolutely respect his career as one of the greatest players of all time. And I look at that card and I go, oh, cool. And it may, like 6 months ago, wouldn't have been so affordable. Now, still not affordable, but more affordable.
All right, guys, I'm going to jump in I'm going to run through a bunch of comments here. There's a lot of good stuff. Yep. And hopefully the clock doesn't end while I'm doing this. So first one I saw T-Dot, a longtime collector. I found centering to be a recent phenomena in its saliency of importance, which I do agree with. I remember in the 80s, it was all about corners. It was not about centering. So it has become more important over time. Zen Ando says, for 90s cards with coating or peel, what's the general rule for grading? Take it off or leave it on? I know Adam is a purist. He will say leave it on. I am somewhat indifferent, but would probably err on the side of caution and say leave it on as well. Justin Vick says, I'm a corner guy. I'm lousy at gauging centering, which is, I find that odd, Justin, simply because it's kind of right in front of you there. Now, on cards without borders or, partial borders or awkward or sort of, more creative design elements, I can see that being tough to gauge for sure. Daniel Busby says that noise is back, like someone is typing. Yes, I've been hearing it as well. Michael Ham says there is so much more big money in the hobby now. There certainly is. Jay Zolnick says no one outside the U.S. gives two hoots about Tom Brady, and speak as someone who lives in the Southern Hemisphere. This is just friendly dialogue. Sorry, don't know what that last part's about, but the first part, I hear you on that. Mac Attack says I better pay my $8 in storage fees. I wouldn't want to get in trouble from Eric. I think he's talking about my outstanding debt here to PWCC. So I'm going to take a quick look and show everybody exactly what that is. Let me just remove.
I would be calling you if you had debt. I'd be like, hey.
Here's my debt, everybody. Here's what I owe PWCC. Even PWCC people can see. 63 cents, 64 cents, 63 cents, 64 cents. That's what I owe them, everybody. It's not even $8. It's barely $3. So there we go. That's what I owe. That's the money I owe them right now. Jubal says no one's opinion on LeBron James is changing. There may be fluctuations, but LeBron James cards have settled to what their worth is. No one is suddenly going to go, oh, I need to collect LeBron James right now for no reason. So listen, I understand the sentiment, Jubal, but I disagree. The reason I disagree is because there are people coming into the hobby who don't yet collect LeBron James. There are veteran collectors in the hobby who don't yet collect LeBron James, and there will be, and some of them will suddenly go, oh, I need to collect LeBron James right now for a reason. I just think that that's going to happen. It probably happens every day, to if you're really thinking about it. So my thoughts on the comment, Jubal, I just think it's inaccurate. I'll leave it at that. And Ryan says, Eric pointing out undervalued cards. Conversely, what seems high or overvalued? Well, I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to call our attention to the Vladdy card. It's well over $500,000 right now. Now, listen, I'm not saying that there aren't some real passionate Vladdy collectors and investors out there who are going head to head right now for this BGS 1010 Vladdy card. I mean, it is a spectacular card. It's out of 5. It's Bowman Chrome. It's everything you want in a card. But what I ask myself is, how many Babe Ruth cards have in the history of time traded hands for more than $500,000? And I don't know the answer to that. Eric might know what the answer to that is. I don't know what it is. But I don't think there have been Babe Ruth cards that have changed hands worth at over $500,000 more than maybe 3 or 4 times. So the fact that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can have a card that can sell for more than most Babe Ruth cards have ever sold in their history, it's kind of mind-blowing, especially if you're somewhat of a novice, you don't understand, scarcity and print runs and all that. But take that aside and just think about and never mind that Jason Dominguez card sold for over $500,000. I think Shine 150 came out and said it was him. I mean, the guy's made some pretty good decisions from what I can see in the past. That one could turn out to be a good decision, but I'd say that the chances of that are like 5-10%. Like his expected value on that is maybe $50K, in my opinion. Are these cards worth this much money? Are they overvalued? I think we're going to see in time that they will prove to be overvalued, and that's because of performance, which is what the hobby rewards. Eric, what do you think? Any cards that you see that are overvalued in the auction, or any response to what I said first, though?
Yeah, so the Vlad Guerrero. So I digress. Babe Ruth cards. Yeah, there's more than a few that change behind the scenes. Yeah, the 1914 and the 1916 high-end Gaudis, 33, 34 Gaudis. Any of the high-end Gaudis of Ruth, those in high grades, you're talking about 9s and stuff. They're big money, 7, almost bumping on 8-figure cards. That being said, of course, Guerrero's not Ruth. But as I mentioned earlier, this is if you're a believer in the future of this player and the team. This is baseball. It's not basketball. A lot of players in that team. So it's very important that in order for cards to take that next level value, needs to be a well-constructed team. And the Blue Jays are that. Bo Bichette's amazing. I think the Blue Jays going into the season were ranked top 2 or 3 to make it to the World Series. I think so. In the power rankings, I think they're 3, maybe 4, but they're definitely in the top 5 in the entire league. And he is clearly the best hitter. Had it not been for Ohtani last year, he would have easily won the MVP. I think he batted .317, 48 home runs, and a little over 120 RBIs. So, and he's a DH, which on first baseman, so he's probably not going to get hurt very much. But the fact he's a power hitter who hits for average, he's arguably one of the best hitters in the league. And again, this is his second best card. Granted, there's 5 Reds, but this is the BGS 10. It's the only one. So unless you're going to pony up and drop over $1 million for his superfractor, then this is your only chance. Is it $500,000 too much? It depends. Because look back at, imagine if Pujols started now. Pujols' first year, right? His first 10 years. And over 10 years, he batted .331, I think averaged 42 home runs a year and over 120 RBIs. So he actually led the entire league in batting average, home runs, and RBIs, an average per season over the whole 10 years. If Guerrero can do something similar to that, this is a steal, but time will tell. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, real quick, my thought on this is that I think we missed the mark a little bit when I'm persuaded by this idea that, hey, this guy is his card is selling for more than almost any Babe Ruth card. Like, that speaks to me, and I go, oh, that seems wrong. Yeah. But I think we missed the mark a little bit when we do that, because there's a lot of people who are collecting modern players that want to own the modern players because they provide a different type of utility. They provide something that is currently sort of moving and that they can be part of, right? Like, I don't even know who this baseball player is because I don't play baseball at all, right? Like, it's not. I remember. It's probably his dad who I remember, Vladimir Guerrero from the Blue Jays. I think. Like, I don't even know who this guy is, but like, if you can get a card that's not made rare by its grade, but made rare by like what it actually is, and it's numbered to 5, like,
yeah.
Like, that is, and it's I think it said it was a 10-10. Like, I look at that and I go, well, you are now, like Erk said, you own something that is one of the best things of that person, and you get to then experience like the ride with him throughout his career in a way that's different if you didn't own it, and only a few people can experience that sort of ride. And so does that make it a great investment? I don't know. But I do know that, like, a lot of people only want to collect players that they watched, and not a lot of us got to watch Babe Ruth. So, would I buy it for that? Is it no? Is it probably going to be end up being way too much as the years go by? Like, there's a good chance of that. But what if this guy ends up being like, an all-time great, and suddenly we're looking at a multi-million-dollar card? Like, that sort of thing's absolutely possible.
Yeah, I think you make great points there, and you're totally right. You're totally right about the different utility comment, and that you get to watch these players at the beginning of their career, throughout their prime, towards the end of their career, if you own those cards. I still do feel, though, that the hobby, some people in the hobby, it's like we're in a rush to make cards of these players worth as much as the legend Hall of Famers, the pioneers of sport, the real people who have a place in history, whereas these guys might just be nothing at the end of the day, in terms of their effect on the history of the games in which they play, and the culture and the cities they play in, and all that. So but I understand certainly the difference.
What's the clock?
1 second. Is it over?
Nope.
No, it's not over. Not over.
So, Jeremy, on that note, we have a perfect card up right now, the Zion, that looked like it was maybe going to be the end of the auction there. We've talked about this. Like, I look at that price, Jeremy, and I go, that is more than I've ever paid for a card. I think about cards in my collection that are worth something close to that, and I'm like, how in the world can our market value that? Is so much money. It just seems insane to me. But then I have to step away and go, okay, what's the utility of that card? What are people really trying to get out of it? And I think what we really know is there's some big, guys with huge pockets that are like, no, yeah, I believe Zion's going to be the next great one, and watch me spend 150 grand on this. It's going to be a great investment. I think it's insane, though. But having said that, like, I've been wrong about a lot of things before, and maybe I'll be wrong about it.
And some of them might get it right, and they're taking a big risk, and that's their prerogative, and it's their money. So who are we to judge that? But I just know that if I'm making decisions for myself, I'm going to make vastly different decisions on where I'm deploying my capital and my hobby my hobby budget. So I'm going to run through some comments. Erk, just FYI, I muted you because we were hearing that typing sound again. So I'll unmute you, but try to mute and unmute yourself when you're not talking. I'm going to unmute you now so you can take over the muting control. Rock Latex said, flip the card upside down if you have problems assessing centering. I don't know if that's a good tip or if that's a joke, but hey, I would give it a try just to see if it does give you that different perspective could actually be quite helpful, right? It could be. I don't know. Maybe it's a joke. Juval says, LeBron James, what factor differentiates LeBron James from every other player to make his value rise versus the market? I think, well, I would say what differentiates him is that he's got a resume where a lot of other players, their play rises based on last night's game or 3 home runs 2 days ago. You have to look at the body of work, I think, along with the regular fluctuations. Goes on to say, are you suggesting that the amount of people coming into the hobby will have a disproportionate amount of love for buying LeBron James cards? Just saying new people coming in, so LBJ goes up. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. New people coming in means LeBron James goes up. It's simple economics, supply and demand. New people coming in, a percentage of them will be attracted to buying 1 or more LeBron James cards. That it adds demand. That has that there's a law in play that says that the prices will go up. Now, all else being equal, if new collectors come in and LeBron James, something happens that is not favorable to the hobby, then the prices will go down. But if there is still increased demand, because down the road, in 10 years after his career is over, he's still going to be an all-time great, and people will want at least something in their collection to represent him in his career. So I think people will always be collecting LeBron James, whereas if Zion fizzles into nothing, that's the end of it. There's not going to be value there ever, really. So I collect Ichiro, good evening and welcome. And I think that's all I had for marked comments, because we are well behind in them at the moment. So I'm just going to skip a bunch and move along. So okay, we've come close, guys. We've come close to hitting the end of the auction a couple times, but we've been sort of saved by a bid each time. And but I'm going to put, hey, there's the LeBron Limited logo, Adam. I think you were talking about a little bit earlier. 04, yeah, a beautiful design, by the way. But anything either of you guys want to chat about now?
Well, if I had to pick a LeBron card that I like again, I'm an ink guy. I like the Ultimate Virtuoso. I think it's in the $30,000 range, something about there, $30,000 or $40,000 range. I love that card, Ultimate Virtuoso. It's one of my favorite designs that came out.
There's the thing that I would sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw the John Morant's now over 300K. Is 9.5. That's what I was saying before, is when you look at where the 9s are, and as that 9.5 keeps, so if the floor now, and remember there's only 6, if that floor is at 312, the next one sells 330, 350. It's easier to scrape the floor and buy 9s and make money there, as opposed to going all in and buy 9.5s.
Mm-hmm. One thing that we haven't talked a lot about in this auction is I guess there's 2 things. There's there's several really nice Trae Young cards. I've seen him pass a couple times, a couple of his 1-of-1s. It seems likely that maybe a big Trae Young collector is sort of saying, I'm going to get out of these Trae Youngs. Maybe they need cash for something else, or maybe they feel like the time is right. Which is interesting timing. He had a game the other day in one of the play-in games where he just showed, wow, he's one of these figures in the NBA right now who just lives for the big moments. So that's one thing that I don't think we've talked about at all. Another is there's a series of gold prism cards that I think are a little bit lower than we've seen them sell for, but some really nice ones. The Embiid rookie. I think there's a couple of Currys, and then maybe there's a few more as well. So those are some of the things
right now. Let's bring them up and have a look at them, Adam. Sorry, Erk, go ahead as I bring those up. What happened there?
I was just scrolling through here, and I noticed the Jay-Z number to 9, PSA 10, Pop 1. I've noticed some non-sports, and I feel like for our market to grow, you saw Drake come in. You'll see more entertainers. You see more musicians and actors come in. That Jay-Z card's at $24K out the door. I think there's going to be some of those early on. This is from 2005. So I think there's going to be some early on entertainer cards that are autographed, low numbers, that there's true or organic growth and value in some of those.
Erk, I couldn't agree more. It's part of why I've gotten into the Harry Potter stuff. Like when you start comparing rarity and sort of like how recognizable some of these actors and actresses and pop culture people are, Jay-Z, like it doesn't jive at all with the athletes, and maybe it never will, and maybe it shouldn't, but it's sort of it's attractive because you look at it and you go, oh wow, that's a price that I'm willing to pay on somebody who's super recognizable on something that's really rare, that's hard to find. And so I think that's a good call on the Jay-Z card.
Well, in 5 or 10 years, there's athletes, and don't get me wrong, I love sports cards. In 5 or 10 years, half the athletes that we talk about now, you're not going to talk about. 5 or 10 years from now, you're still going to be talking about Harry Potter and Jay-Z. And Harry Potter's global. Like, it's global. So I definitely understand that. Because, I mean, people still talk about Biggie. People still talk about Tupac. Yep. So you see some of these rare low, I mean, there's serial numbers. It's number to 9, and it's a Pop 1 PSA 10. And I look at it and go, man, I think as some of these people in their 20s and 30s get older, they enter into their monetary best part of their life where they're making really good money at their jobs. Man, they see those things, you know, especially me. I live in Korea. I see people of all different facets as I travel the world. And I see them really being passionate about things that I'm thinking to myself, I didn't see that, but it's there. And there's a lot of them, and they're young. And they're going to grow up, and they're going to have good jobs. So,
yeah, that Jay-Z card came out of a basketball product. And it's not like you're going to see very many of those. Hey, we're seeing some interesting action on this Messi card. It seems to be the one that keeps getting bumped. I've got a soft spot for that card because it's an Eminence card, and most of my more modern basketball cards are Eminence. I love Eminence basketball. What do you guys think of that Messi card right there? Do you think that's good looking? Do you not like the gold? What are your opinions on that?
Let's take a closer look at it and give some opinions on it. I'm going to blow it up here and let's see. So I'm going to go first, Eric, if you don't mind. And I'm going to make the first comment is the patch really jumps out at you being very cool with like 2 stars side by side, perfectly placed in the patch window. I really like that about it. The blue foil, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's fine. I think I might prefer a gold or something like that, but it's fine. This card in particular, I'm just noticing has a bit of damage on the bottom right corner there. Something doesn't seem to be right there, but that's not what we're talking. We're talking about the aesthetics of the card itself, I believe. The 1 of 1 script is nice. I have a bit of an issue with the auto though. Like, I don't know what this blemish is here. That really, my eye is drawn to this here. It's drawn to this action here. Now this might just be on the holder. I don't know. I can't imagine it is on the holder. I don't know. Would PWCC, photograph a card like this with that being holder damage? I just don't know the answer to that. Before you answer though, I want to come up to this part of the auto here. Like, what is going on here? I don't know what's going on here, but if that is on the holder, it scares me off, and I'm not going to bid on it as high as I would otherwise, because I can't tell if that's a good autograph under that holder scratch or holder blemish scrape, or is that in the card? And then of course you have all this action right over here. You've got this action over here.
Timer.
Oh,
no way.
That's it. Nope, never mind.
No, more bids coming. So I lost track as I was kind of like picking apart this autograph, whether it's the autograph or the holder it's in. I think that it's unfortunate if it's the holder that it makes the card look like
Well,
this. Eric, can you comment? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I'm really familiar with those product line, with the Eminence product line. Unfortunately, Eminence isn't known for its quality. It's just not. That's why a lot of people leave them
But
in the. So that's from the factory. It's factory holder. Most people leave them in there, in those factory one touches, because if you get a 9, if you get a card that grades a 9, that's a really good grade. A lot of them are known for their surface issues. Eminence.
So is this
what
in
else?
this Eric, in this instance?
That's the auto. So
That's the auto.
that's the so in the other instance, I would just take an estimate on the other part of the auto. I think it's the holder. That part of the auto, it's the auto. And the reason that it is because the employee that they had that went and got a lot of these, for some reason, on these cards, the guys that they sent to go do the autos, they would stack the cards when the player would sign them. So that smudge is caused by the card that's stacked on top of it, because they would sign them and they wouldn't just lay them all out on the table and him sign them. He would sign them, they'd stack it on the one, stack it on the one, stack. And so it is a good assessment that a third of all Eminence autographs are going to have smudges. So when you see ones that don't, so that card would probably be at $60K if it didn't have a smudge. Like the price can jump exponentially because so many of them have smudge autos. But unfortunately for this one, it's a 1 of 1. It's not like it's not like it's number 3. You have one shot at it. If you don't want to take that one shot, well, sorry, you don't get another. I mean, it's a 1 of 1. That's the only thing that is, people love about this card.
Timer.
But I love the patch.
Oh, there goes. Yeah, let me say, as the Eminence lover, I love Eminence because of all the things that you guys just talked about. You have massive problems with, and you pointed out at the beginning, Jeremy, see that bottom right-hand corner. I wish I could say that was uncommon. It's very common in Eminence.
It's normal.
Because they're literally twice the size of like a National Treasures card in width, and they're huge. It feels like if you took an Eminence card and you threw it at somebody, you might kill. They feel like little weapons in your hands. The autographs are, I think, Eric's guess of a third is probably spot on. Somewhere between 20 and 35% of the cards have smudges in the autographs. And then, Jeremy, your point on the case is exactly right. The problem is that the case, the card is uncirculated as it's in that holder with a little label on it. So you can't ever take it out of the holder to get a good picture of it. And so this is the problem that PWCC or anybody taking the picture would have of the card. I love it for all of those reasons, because what you have to do is you have to look at it like it's a piece of art and look for all of those things that are issues and then say, is this a great card? There was a Steph out of Eminence that sold for a record price, I think last week, for I think it was 150 grand out of the first year of Eminence. It's totally self-serving me talking about that, because again, I have a ton of early Eminence stuff. It's like one of my main favorite sort of parts of my collection. But I think that other people also recognize that the cards themselves, a lot of them, as Sarah pointed out, are not known for their quality. But if you can find a card that's right, that has all those things kind of going in the right direction, then the foil that Jeremy said he doesn't really like, it's etched tall foil. It's really nice. And in person, the cards are fantastic.
I do like the foil. I'm just not like, whoa, but I do like it. Like it's a nice blue. And I appreciate learning all this about Eminence. And, at first I didn't realize that it was uncirculated. So, but I kind of wish that the damage was on the holder and not on the ink itself. Someone made in the comment here, Jameson Riley says those stars symbolize their 2 World Cup championships. I mean, that is very special right there. I mean, that's a one of a kind patch. That's cooler than a logo man or a shield, because it symbolizes something very important. I think it's really, really cool. All that said, it's a 1 of 1 and it's a special 1 of 1. But for me, I'm not buying it because of the smudged auto. Like, for me.
So on that point, while we watch
by the way, just clock for a second.
While we watch the clock tick down.
What? Is it? Oh, somebody came across.
No.
So on that point, Jeremy, just last thought on this. This 2 stars equals their 2 World Cup championships. The Steph Curry that sold for like 150 grand, it was the championship tag and they were the first year championship tag autos that were ever made. It's the same thing. It represents the number of championships that the Golden State had won. It's got that beautiful gold autograph, and the card, they nailed that one. That one was good. It was right. So to see the massive premium on that makes sense. But that's a different way of looking at a card than just centering or just a grade. It's like all of the components wrapped together. Does it make it the right sort of piece of art? And your eyes on this one, you're dead on. That end of that autograph, I think it just hurts the card a lot, unfortunately. But I still like it, but it hurts it a lot.
It's where my eyes start at the patches, and then they go to that smudge on the tail of the auto, unfortunately. But all that said, it's still a very important card. It's a 1 of 1. It's unfortunate that they stack the cards after they sign them. It's unfortunate that it's not permanent pen that's being used. So Eric, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, Adam's spot on. Like, those cards are hammered coming out of the factory. They just are. And I agree with Adam. I wish I could say it's not normal. It's absolutely normal. And then an average grade for that card is a 7.5 or an 8. And that's just kind of how they come.
If that.
I wish they had done different with the auto. But, again, it is what it is on this one. Because if that had a perfect auto, it'd be 50, 60K easy. Probably more. I mean, it'd be tens of thousands of dollars different. But the thing is, it's a 1 of 1. And I think as soccer grows, as we approach that World Cup, you'll start seeing a good holistic, natural, organic growth in soccer. They'll start, the Ronaldos, the Messis, and the other players, whether they make it to the cup or not, you'll just see soccer grow and grow and grow. I don't think it's going to go parabolic, but you'll see more and more stuff grow. And it's just hard. Like, I look for on-card Ronaldo and Messi low print run cards myself. And, man, half of them, I would say half of all of them together have what I would consider not a 10 grade auto. And then you have to figure out, try to get them a good price, a decent. I've thrown condition out the window at this point. I just kind of look for an auto because the price gets so high if you want condition and good auto at this point.
Well, apparently Messi signs very little as it is. So, even getting a smudged auto is something to be happy with, I suppose. Gold BGS Ronaldo Prism at 50K is wild too, says Andrew Kim. And Juval says a great holistic natural growth in soccer covered in a huge mess of flipping who drops the bag first games. I mean, it comes down to performance at the end of the day too, right? With a run up because of World Cup, it's like, we know that this happens in other sports, that at the beginning of the season, leading up to the beginning of the season, everybody is in first place. Everybody has a chance to win a championship. Every player, I would say everybody, but several teams have a chance. Many players, there's so much hope and speculation by their fans. Everything's great at the beginning of a season, in the months leading up to the season, or it's particularly the month leading up to the season. Then the season starts, injuries happen, players go cold, sophomore slumps happen, all these things to kind of rain on the parade, ruin the party sort of thing. With World Cup though, you've got a much longer lead up. There's much more time for all the collectors and the fans to get excited about it. And then it's just going to be like for most of those fans and most of those collectors and investors in the sports cards, they're going to run into a brick wall because it's, with a really long lead up, because not every player can be successful and not every team can win. So interesting stuff right there. All right. It's getting late. I do see that the clock is down to 6 seconds. What's going on up here? Let's see if a bid comes. Oh no, it just reset.
Yep.
So Adam, I know you mentioned that you might need to cut it a bit early. Just let us know when, and Eric and I can carry it till this thing ends. Overall, I'd like to see it till the end, but feel free whenever you need.
Yeah, I think I'll cut out now. It's Easter tomorrow, and the Easter Bunny I think might need some help getting ready for 4 little ones who are going to be looking forward to it tomorrow. So I think I'll peace out right now. But as always, you guys, it's just a pleasure to hang out with you. Jeremy, again, congrats on the 2 years.
Thanks. But 1 sec, Adam, give me 1 sec. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Can you just hold court for 2 minutes
Yeah,
while I?
yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
I'll be right back.
So it looks like the 86 Fleer box is now over 160, which is still a good buy. I still think that's fair market value. I think the 160 to 190 is about what they go for.
Is that?
Man, I'm still.
Have you ever owned one of those before?
I've had a couple.
Have you? You've owned everything, man. That's awesome.
But I don't do box. I don't do wax anymore because I move around so much, and I don't know where I'm going to live next, like how close I'm going to be to the ocean. So I'm really cautious of what I own.
How much did the Logan Paul thing scare you off on wax? Did it do anything to you?
A lot. Yeah, I was not aware BBCE did not stand behind. I don't know if they do in sports, but in their Pokemon, that they didn't honor that after charging so much. I think that leaves it that they need to have better insurance policy, and stand behind that. But vintage wax, well, we could call it vintage 22 years. It's important, man. I think it's better just to open that sucker up. Have a third party cut the box open. Cut the top, the flap open. Pull the boxes out. Look at the boxes. Reseal them under a third party wrap, and reseal it with tape, third party tape, and they say yes, this is real. I understand people want to keep it original, but at this point in the game, there's millions of dollars involved, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's paramount that extra step you're taking, and it doesn't defile the product to open it up and look inside the case. And I think we all learn that collectively as a hobby now that, hey, you know what, maybe we should open that one up going forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's so tough because you just don't want anything to affect those cards and to be something that's totally sealed. I understand why you wouldn't want to, but the question is where you draw the line, because is it 03 Exquisite? Is it 1997 Fleer Metal? Is it like, is it wax
61 Fleer basketball?
Yeah, it's really hard to know where you draw that line, but yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think I agree. You always hate to see like sort of the black mark on the hobby come from those moments. And that one was so public that it's just tough.
I completely agree. And I think it's important that there be a company moving forward that insists that things of that caliber be opened, and that they have their own tape to seal it, and that says, hey, we've inspected the contents of this box. We have inspected it. We stand behind what's inside this case.
That's right.
Period. And I think when that happens, and if they can stand behind it financially, it'll change the wax game for a long time to come. It will. But this is real money now. These aren't hundreds or $1,000. You got hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars now. There needs to be more protection for the consumer, and I fully support it.
Well, so Jeremy, you good if I give my parting thoughts real quick?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for holding on a couple minutes for me.
Dude, you're totally good. You're totally good. As usual, I had a blast, with you guys, just going through the cards and talking about them. And I love seeing how many people come and they comment. The comments make this whole thing just, totally worth it. But as usual, great auction. Hopefully it goes on for 4 more hours and you guys are going to bed super late. But don't forget about the Easter Bunny tonight, if you do that sort of thing.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you as always, and happy Easter to you and your family. And we'll see you back here a month from now for the May premiere.
Peace out, guys.
Peace out. As he steps out, Eric, we'll carry this one through to the end. We've been close to this auction ending several times now, but there still seem to be bids coming in. There's another one right there. I opened up the Jackie. I wanted to take a look at the Jackie card because it's one of you love the set. I love the card itself. I think it's I've said it before on the show. It's my favorite baseball card. I do have a copy. I love it. The color on this copy and the registration are perfect. I don't know if I've seen one. It's as good as I've ever seen. Both the coloring and the registration, even the bit of fray up here in the top right corner, it looks like, but the corners, like that's barely anything there. That's just a little fiber coming off there. You could snip that off with your nail clippers if you wanted to, right there. I'm joking. But like, look at these corners. These corners are really nice.
So
Like,
let
this
me jump in
card
on this
is-
card, right?
What's that?
Let me jump in on this one. So the telltale signs for registry on the 48 leaf are the eyes in the hat. You want to look at how the letter on the hat, but predominantly the eyes. If the eyes registry is good, like on this one, you look at the eyes, they look perfect. If the eyes are good, the rest of the card is going to be spectacular. And if you're questioning, is it kind of blurry? Is the registry off a little? Maybe. The eyes tell everything in the 48 leaf. Look at the eyes and the letter in the hat, but predominantly the eyes. If on this, like you said, if this card was centered, oh my God. I mean, if this card was, let's say it had worse corners, but better centering, it would be 50% more money. It would. But if you're somebody who's into registry and color, you're not getting, unless you buy a 9, you're going to have to go up to a 9. That literally has, it's color registry. Oh, sorry, it's color, saturation, and the registry. That's 9 caliber, at least 8.5. That's 8.5 to 9 caliber. You're talking bumping on like a $1 million card. You know, I've owned
So
well
it's
into 6
interesting.
figures.
It's interesting because and we say, I call it registration, you call it registry. I don't know if we're both right or one of us, but we'll just keep
Right.
on what we call it. I see this little bit of red here, and I see a little bit of red under here and coming up over here. A little bit, okay? So, and then you see it also over here. To me, that's not perfect registration. I actually brought up my personal copy to compare what I could see. So I'll just show that to everybody. But while I show it, keep in mind this little bit of red under here, the little red under there, coming into the white part of the eye. Now, if you look at my copy, or I've zoomed in on the eye, I mean, it's tough to see, but there's none of that red happening. So on that eye, at least, and on the other eye, there's none of that red happening. So it's a bit different. However, if I look at this little bit of white between the cap and his head. See that little bit of white there? Let's go back to the card at auction and look at that one. Here we go.
The red is off on this one, but just as you tell it.
So what I'm showing you is on here, you got a little bit of white in there, but it's not nearly as much as you have on my copies, which tells me that we're seeing the registration of different plates on this copy at auction. The red plate, the magenta plate, was a little bit low. On my copy, one of the other plates was a little bit off side to side, which is interesting that, you know, we're talking about 4 plates coming down. They all have to land perfect dead center. So the amount of different combinations of registration flaws is, you know, there's, you know, 2 to the power of 4, however that works, right? Like you're gonna have several combinations there. So, but overall, this card has all the eye appeal it needs outside of centering, edges, corners, and surface, from what we can tell. A beautiful copy outside of centering, but I do love the card. It's you know, here's mine just to compare it to the centering that my copy has, and I'll just make the screen a bit bigger.
I still can't believe that Mike Trout orange is only at 228. That's criminally low.
So it's hard to see the yellow, but my yellow is very bold. It's just not showing up in this light, but you can see top to bottom centering is a lot better than the one at auction. But the one at auction has better corners and edges and absolute stunning.
I'm going to be honest. Jeremy. On that 48 leaf, there's such a short print run. That's one set that taught me about it taught me about me as a collector, what I really look for, right? Because you can't set on the 48 leaf set, you could be waiting 5 to 10 years before you find the copy for you. And by then the prices have grown so much, you wind up waiting yourself out of the card you really wanted. If you're a centering guy, like some people say that they like all aspects. Yeah, don't we all, right? But truly, if you dive within your heart, what is it that you look for the most? Registration, color, corners, edges, centering. Me on a vintage card, and I mean vintage in the 50s and older, for me, I concede on cornering. All right, I'll concede on edges. I want to get good registration, but for me is centering, and then would be the registration and color, and then I would go to corners and then edges. But it's different, because it helps you find about each individual. You know,
I think you make great points there, and Well, I think the answer is I forget who said it earlier in the chat, but I'm just looking for a card that speaks to me, a card
Yeah.
that I like overall, because you have to look at all aspects of it. And if you find a card that speaks to you that you really love, then that's the one to purchase if you are serious about a specific card. A couple comments. Juval here. You guys ever just kind of sit down, look at your cards, and think, I've got a ton of cool cards? Like, if you're not, you should be doing that, because that's what right? Sit back, enjoy your cards. Don't worry about these.
Get my collection. I get
I
some
mean,
of my collection out, throw it on the bed all the time.
Yeah. Well, I need several beds to do it, but I mean, it's nice to just sometimes appreciate what we have and not worry about all these technical implications and some of the issues we have in the hobby. Sometimes it's nice just to I've said it before, just go back to the cards. If you're ever feeling down on the hobby, go back to your cards. That's kind of what it's all about. He goes on to make this comment: I both simultaneously think I know what registration means and I don't know what it means. Fair. It's there's a lot of moving parts there. Well, there's 4 moving parts, 4 different printing plates, at least.
I still
Big
can't
Boy
believe that
says it's how each application of this is on registration. It's how each application of ink registers on the card after one of the 4 plates applies ink to it during the printing process. Yeah, nicely said right there. And okay, that's it. That's all I got for comments right now.
Wait. Is it 0? Did it end?
Oh, I think it's over. Yeah, that's done. It's done. Congratulations to all the new card owners, 324 new lot owners. Congratulations to the sellers, if they're happy with what their cards sold for. And I love, one of the best things about this site, about PWCC's platform, is that instantly now you see the actual out the door price, including buyer's premium. So we know what the new owner paid for the card. And the Vladdy sells for over $550,000. Amazing. Should we run through the top 24 items of the auction, Erk?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna go through these pretty quick, everybody. The top 24 auctions as sold on the April premiere. At number 1, we've got the Playoff Contenders Championship ticket, Tom Brady rookie auto out of 100 in the BGS 85 holder, does $1.47 million. The second card is the iconic 1980 Topps Larry Bird Magic rookie with Dr. Julius Erving in the middle. PSA 10, population 22, does $840,000. In the 3 spot is a beautiful Steph Curry National Treasures RPA BGS 95, does $720,000, followed by the surprise of the auction to me, the 2016 Bowman Chrome Red Refractor Vladdy Guerrero Jr. out of 5 in a BGS 1010 holder, does $552,000. Not bad for the youngster. At number 5, Panini Prism Deshaun Watson rookie rainbow set, does $336,000. There was confusion as to the value of that in the chat tonight. And in the 6th spot is the 96 Pokemon Japanese version at $324,000, followed by John Morant. Look at John Morant cracking the top 10 here tonight. 2019 National Treasures RPA at a 99 in the BGS 95 holder, does $312,000. In the 8th spot, Eric, is the 1910 E98 set Cy Young red background PSA 10, almost unheard of for a card that is 112 years old, does $288,000. Vintage collectors, good for you. And next up in the 9th spot is the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie, does $240,000. So, that card has come back down to earth, although this copy might have centering issues. I didn't look closely at it enough. 2009 Bowman Chrome Orange Refractor Mike Trout at a 25 in the 10 spot at $228,000. We'll do 5 more, Eric. The 2018 Luca National Treasures out of 20 does $228,000, followed by a really nice, this was Adam's favorite card in the auction, the 97 UD3 season ticket Michael Jordan auto. PSA 7 does $228,000. Anthony Edwards cracks the list for the first time. 2020 National Treasures Rookie card patch PSA 9 does $222,000. I believe this is out of 99, followed by a
Number 10.
Giannis NT 3-color patch auto BGS 8.5. 99 out of 99 does $216,000. And then we have the 2009 Topps Chrome Steph Curry rookie out of 100. This is the refractor PSA 10 does $204,000. Next up, the 96 Fleer wax box, 36 packs. Michael Jordan inside, $162,000 for the box. That's the top 16. Oh, let's just keep going. Zion makes the list tonight, Erk. 2019 NTRP out of 10 does 156. And then one of my favorite cards in the auction is the Ricky Henderson PSA 10 from the Dimitri Young collection. Does 144K, followed by Fernando Tatis Jr. Bowman Chrome Orange out of 25. PSA 10 does 144. And we'll end it with the Mickey Mantle 52 Tops PSA 5.5 also does $144,000. Juval makes a comment right here. Imagine paying more for an Anthony Edwards NT RPA than a Giannis NT RPA. Yeah, good observation right now. Definitely agree with that. What is Corey Carr asking? What are your guys' thoughts on graded cards with coating? I don't know what Corey means by that. I don't know what you mean by that, Corey. Do you know what he means by that, Erk?
Yeah, so some of the cards that came out of the 90s, the inserts.
Oh,
it would
sorry.
Have that.
I'm sorry, Corey. I'm sorry, both of you. I do understand what he means. Cards that have, yeah. This came up earlier on the show. I thought you meant the slab had some coating. So sorry, Erk, but I do understand it. Can you provide your thoughts on it, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's personal preference. Monetarily speaking, with coating is always worth more, just because it's more pure, more original as it was pulled from the pack. But there are times that the coating, when it's in the holder, the BGS or PSA, depending on temperature and stuff, the edges of the coating will come up a little bit, right? So, and the card honestly presents itself better without the coating on it. It just does. It's more refractive. It's in regards to aesthetically, without coating looks much better. In regards to value, leave the coating on. So then you have to dive within your own personal psyche and decide which one's more important to you.
Yeah, well said. I think, purists are going to say leave it on. Adam is one of those. He says leave it on. I think the cards look nicer without them. Let's take that remove peel word right off the face of the card and let's have a look and see the real shine that those cards have. So for me, it's pretty easy. Take it off, but I have a bit of purist in me too that says, well, maybe the thing to do is, I'm not the final owner of the card, so maybe let the next owner make that decision. It's tough, right?
It's by both.
Yeah, I see arguments for both sides of it, and I don't have many cards like that, so I'm not going to make the decision. I'm going to cause myself not to have to be the one to make the decision. I collect Ichiro says I like to have one of each, one with peel, one without. Well, you know what? That solves the problem right there for sure. And then Juval says the dude paid 80 grand more for the Anthony Edwards RPA than the 52 Tops Mickey Mantle and a PSA 5.5. It does seem absurdly ridiculous when you think about it. It just does. I mean, it's hard to get off that. But and can we talk about who is taking these peels off? Yeah, that's like that to me. It's like as risky as unslabbing a card, cracking a card out of the slab. It's something that you if you're going to do it, you better have surgeon type hands. All right. Yeah, Juval, peeling a potential 50K card, no thanks. Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. I wouldn't be the one doing that either. All right, Erk, can you report on the final numbers on the auction this month?
Yep, let me pull this up real quick.
If I remember last month, I think you said the final numbers were just over 15 million on the auction. Is that right?
Let me look real quick. So let's go to March.
That was March, I believe. Let's see what April did. And sorry, go ahead.
March was 15.9 million total out the door. 15.9. Okay. April's we're at 18.6.
Ooh, so again, more lots this time, but still, that's a big bump. That's a
$2.5 million. Big difference.
Yeah, 2.5 million on top of 15 million. That's like an 18% bump. That's pretty healthy. Pretty healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're complaining.
No.
I think we'll be just happy, just elated. And now this one. Now we'll say this though. This is a good thing to take into perspective. So let me double check before I speak. Last month we did 15.9 million. Here's the beautiful thing: 15.9 million. We didn't have a card go break the over $500,000. So every card was 500,000 or lower, and we still did 15.9, which is huge. I love to kind of look at those kind of metrics. Whereas this month, we had, the Brady one, almost 1.5. Then you had 840K, 720K. So we had 4 cards over $500,000, 2 over $750,000, and 1 almost hit 1.5 million. So,
Yeah.
I think comparatively they're the same. We just had some bigger cards in this auction. However, in regards to totality, I personally was more impressed with last month's doing almost 16 million, because it looked a lot of 6-figure cards. We had a ton of 6-figure cards in there, which is what you want to see. That adds overall broader perspective of stability.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff, man. Thank you for that. There was a question here by Ryan. Says, thoughts on the Allen Iverson sale. I imagine he's talking about the refractor here, the PSA 10 Topps Chrome refractor, 42,000. Listen, I don't know if that's a record or what, but I think that's a pretty healthy price for the card, and it's a beautiful card. Player who's going to have a place in the hobby for years to come. So those are my really uninformed type of thoughts. I'm not an expert on the card at all, but Eric, can you comment on the sale of the Iverson?
Yeah, that's a big number, 50K. To the best of my understanding, I got to look at I'd have to look at the data on it, but that one. So those cards are known for greening. This card is a beautiful specimen. Like color-wise, it's beautiful. No greening. It presents itself really well. You combine that with centering. It's a smidge off left to right. But you're talking, it's 55-45 left to right. It's a beautiful specimen. Like if you're an Allen Iverson collector, that's the card that you want. I totally understand why that one would hit those. It's 50,000, almost 50,400 out the door. I totally get it. That's a card that you're looking for. You're looking for a 0 greening, 1996 Topps Chrome refractor, PSA 10 with very, very, very good centering. So kudos to whoever paid for that one.
It does look spectacular for sure. And I always like to note the final bid, what card or item the final bid was placed on in the auction. And this month, it's a 1998 Pokemon Japanese promo card, University Magikarp, Tamamushi University Prize in a Gem Mint 10, $65,000 plus buyer's premium. So I think with that, you're you're looking at what, 78 grand or so, something like that. That's a lot of money for a card that I've never even seen or heard of before. But hey, what do I know? I'm no expert in Pokemon. But I think with that, we are going to end this auction, and we're going to end this episode covering this auction. I want to thank everybody for joining in. And again, today was the 2-year anniversary of the start of Sports Cards Live. So thanks to everybody who has been watching all along, or whenever you joined the party. Thank you for being a part of it with me, all the guests, all the people in the chat, all the subscribers, all the podcast listeners. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for what's been a great 2 years for me, and we're going to keep on going. So that's that. Eric, thank you very much. Final comment.
No, just thanks for letting me come on your show, and I greatly appreciate being here, and thanks for all the watchers.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to run through the final comments. Thank you, Ichiro. Really appreciate that. Thanks, Justin Vick. Thank you, Juval. Thank you, All Valley. Thank you, Fax Sakes. Have you seen there's a 2021 gold PMG? Yeah, that's I know the consigner. He told me today that he had it in the golden auction this month. Thank you, Billy. Really appreciate that. Francesco, can't wait till we see Flintstones cards selling for millions. Good stuff. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. And with that, guys, this episode is over.